Peng Yueji immediately explained, Qian Bei, Fred is CGK's main representative in their negotiation with Feiyu Corporation. If something happened to Lan Yu, it must be due to him, so I tied him up. Peng Yueji immediately explained, Qian Bei, Fred is CGK's main representative in their negotiation with Feiyu Corporation. If something happened to Lan Yu, it must be due to him, so I tied him up. Yi Mo was almost speechless. Who said something happened to Lan Yu? I just wanted to figure out where she was at the moment. I never said anything happened to her. Peng Yueji saw that he had misunderstood Yi Mo and was greatly worried. He said, Yi Qianbei, Fred is the most infamous human trafficker in San Francisco. He looks glamorous on the outside, sales manager of a big company, but secretly he commits all sorts of crimes. Normal people don't know about these things, but in the mafia, everyone knows about it. Because Suorin of Grey Alliance was his supporting pillar, he still roams free. Yi Mo suddenly realized something. So this was the friend Suorin had in CGK he was talking about. Had he really dared do something to Lan Yu? Thinking about it, Yi Mo's face sunk, and he asked coldly, I don't know if something happened to Lan Yu. Gang leader Peng, ask this person for me. Does he know the whereabouts of Lan Yu? If he really had the guts to do something to Lan Yu, I will kill him right now. Yes, if Qian Bei doesn't mind, just call me Yuji. Don't call me gang leader, Peng Yueji humbly stated. Yi Mo nodded. All right, then you can be the same as Zhu Zi and Shi Kai-jen. Hearing Yi Mo agree to his request, Peng Yueji made up his mind to not disappoint Yi Mo. He turned to talk to Fred and used one threat after another. Fred might have done human trafficking. He still couldn't stand the threats and yells of Peng Yueji. Soon, he told everything. Hearing Peng Yueji's explanation, Yi Mo was speechless. Although Fred was a human trafficker, it's not like he sold everyone. He had to make sure they were safe to traffic. Lan Yu wasn't safe, so he didn't intend to do anything to her. Instead, it was Lan Yu who found him. When Ning Zhongfei was leaving America, Lan Yu met up with Fred once again. She took out a card with $100,000 and wanted to bribe him. How could Fred not take the money that was given to him? He took the card immediately and promised to introduce Lan Yu to a new company and told her not to worry. Fred wasn't planning on doing anything to her and was really going to introduce her to a small company and just finish things up. But at this moment, CGK heard that Feiyu got the spot for Asia and immediately wanted to renegotiate with Feiyu. This was Fred's job, so Fred got really worried. If this deal was exposed, he would be screwed over for sure. As long as Lan Yu knew that her company was chosen, this deal would get exposed. At that time, not only would Fred lose his job, he could also face jail time. Therefore, Fred could only lock Lan Yu up. At this moment, Ning Zhongfei happened to call. Fred forced Lan Yu to report that she was safe and took her phone. At this step, Fred was planning to sell Lan Yu after all, so he called an organization called 5 States and sold Lan Yu to them. Having listened to all this, Yi Mo's voice went cold. He looked frostily at Fred. Where is this 5 States? After Peng Yueji had asked the details of where to meet the 5 States and where their HQ was, Yi Mo threw a fireball without hesitation. This was the first time Yi Mo had used a fireball in front of them. Even Shi Kai-jen and Tong Zhu were shocked, much less Peng Yueji, who saw Yi Mo for the first time. At this moment, they realized that they were far from knowing Yi Mo. They had only witnessed a part of Yi Mo's power. No one had been able to force him to show his true power yet. I'm going to 5 States immediately. Kai-jen and Zhu stay with Yueji first. Yi Mo was very uncomfortable thinking that a human trafficking organization had taken Lan Yu. Lan Yu hadn't been through much hardship up until now. She was living in a spacious, grandiose room. There were even a few maids serving her. She was really confused. She understood, of course, that she had been tricked by Fred, although she didn't comprehend why she was being served like this. As someone who had been sold, Lan Yu knew her situation wasn't good. She regretted her naivety. It had always been her husband doing the business trips, and only when her daughter got old did she also help. It was only after moving to U-State that she learned how hard it was doing business. Seeing their company gradually decline under the will of Yuan Bei, she was also very desperate. This time she had come to America to seek cooperation with CGK, but was rejected without hesitation. She didn't expect the person whom she bribed to be so greedy and even sell her. If it wasn't that when some black person was about to violate her, she told them she was the CEO of Feiyu, she would have been raped already. Lan Yu felt something was very odd. After she said that, someone kicked that black man away and even killed the man. Lan Yu hadn't witnessed the bloody scene, but she still felt gratitude to that person who helped her. That person was a low-level leader here, so her treatment changed for the better soon. Not only was she moved away from the people being sold, all her belongings were returned to her too. More than that, they also brought her to this luxurious place to live and eat well. But no matter how good the conditions here were, it couldn't stop her desperate longing to go home. If she had known that Feiyu was going to get the spot, why would she have stayed so shamelessly to negotiate with CGK? Lan Yu wondered, though, was Feiyu's reputation that good nowadays? The person enduring the greatest hardship now wasn't Lan Yu, but the big boss who had just bought this human trafficking organization. Although 5 States was a human trafficking organization, they didn't operate just in the field of human trafficking. The big boss of 5 States was a Chinese man called Shawan. He only has one arm. Even if Feiyu had gotten the only spot in the world, they wouldn't care. But this Feiyu CEO had another identity. Mother-in-law of that slaughter god, Yimo Shawan knew clearly how strong Ren Sha was. He could make anyone die by his will. He had seen many powerful ancient martial artists try to challenge Ren Sha, yet all of them had died. Aside from that, Sha Wan also knew Ren Sha's cultivation method, using other people's lives to increase his own power. When Ren Sha had wanted to kill Yimo, he had sent killers everywhere. But this pissed Yimo off, and he came to Hong Kong from Chun and in an extremely short amount of time. Even now, Sha Wan still didn't know how Yimo came to Hong Kong. And exactly this kind of tough guy like Ren Sha was not only killed by Yimo, but even the entire Earth Fiend organization, other than him, who had escaped with one arm, was completely massacred. Even Ren Sha's base seemed to have been searched by Yimo. Afterwards, Sha Wan also went to Hong Kong to investigate secretly. Ren Sha couldn't be more dead. Compared to Ren Sha, Nanqing, and Metal River was nothing. They had all offended Yimo, and all of them disappeared or went into decline. If there was one person in this world that Sha Wan didn't dare offend, then it was Yimo. He didn't think that Yimo wouldn't be able to find him here. He was sure that if Yimo wanted to kill him, then even if he hid on the edges of the earth, he would still die. Sha Wan fled to the USA, wanting to use this human trafficking business to store up wealth and start another hitman organization. But this business earned just a little bit of name for itself, and he offended someone like Yimo. This made Sha Wan very annoyed and worried. That's why when he knew that the person he had captured was Lan Yu, he immediately decided to let her eat well and live well and send someone to get Fred. But the people he sent reported that Fred was gone. This got Sha Wan even more worried. If he couldn't think of a way, he would be gone for sure. Once Yimo came here, he would be done for. Quickly get CEO Lan over here. After finding out that Fred was missing, Sha Wan immediately began to worry. His original plan was to capture Fred and ask for forgiveness in front of Lan Yu, but now Fred was missing. Quickly get CEO Lan over here. After finding out that Fred was missing, Sha Wan immediately began to worry. His original plan was to capture Fred and ask for forgiveness in front of Lan Yu, but now Fred was missing. Wait, Sha Wan stopped his men and tidied his clothes. I'll go myself. Lan Yu was anxiously waiting in the luxurious room when Sha Wan walked in nervously. CEO Lan, I'm Shah, one of 5 states. My men are stupid and actually believed Fred's words, so they were disrespectful to CEO Lon. Please forgive me, CEO Lon. Shah one apologized and made a 90-degree bow. Lon Yu looked at Shah one in confusion. Since when did human traffickers become so polite to the people they kidnap? Seeing Lon Yu not talk, Shah one quickly said, CEO Lon, in fact, I tried to capture Fred, but he has gone missing currently. Hence, we haven't been able to find him yet. Although Lon Yu was still confused, she said, I don't need you to say you're wrong. I just want to leave. All I want now is for you to let me go. Shah one wiped the sweat off his head. No problem. Of course you can leave. There's a card here. The password is all ones. Although I know CEO Lon isn't short on money, this is my compensation for all my mistakes. Lon Yu didn't understand what was going on, but this was what she wanted. As for the reason, if she couldn't think of it, she might as well not think about it. When he brought her back onto the streets, Shah one wiped the sweat off his forehead and ordered, send 2 people to secretly protect her. If anyone dares offend her, don't blame me for being rude. The Luo Yu conference was over. Out of all the companies present, the unhappiest had to be the Yuanbei Corporation. It was the largest pharmaceutical company in China with its power spread all over the globe. More than that, in the Hefeng area, the Yuan family was the local overlord. Even the vice mayor had to consider his words. But today, the young CEO of Yuanbei Corporation was slapped in the face by Luo Yu's CEO Yu in front of a few hundred corporations from all over the world and had been escorted out of the place. This was a complete insult to Yuanbei Corporation. Yu Miaodong, I don't care how popular your Luo Yu Corporation is, nor who is behind Luo Yu Corporation. If I don't send you to the 18th level of hell, Yuan Qibing, am a pig. Ning Qingxue, don't think that just because you have Luo Yu supporting you, you can forget about everything. When you kneel in front of me begging for mercy, you will know who's boss. Yuan Qibing smashed the last cup on the table and finally calmed down a little. Yuan Qibing always thought himself a calm and elegant person. The reason he was acting out like this was all because of Luo Yu and Ning Qingxue. A woman in her 30s wearing a light blue professional dress walked in. She bowed respectfully to Yuan Qibing and then took out a folder, handing it to him. Young CEO, this is what I managed to investigate. Luo Yu Corporation's sudden rise to fame is due to the support of Hong Kong Mo Family Corporation. Yuan Qibing didn't look at the files and frowned. Hong Kong Mo Family Corporation? Did they know Luo Yu had such a powerful product at the time? Who's the big boss behind Luo Yu? The woman replied, they aren't registered in China, and their data is completely safeguarded. With our current resources, we can't find out their registration information. Aside from that, there is more bad news. The new health pill they are producing is listed as a military cooperation. It's said that the military is having negotiations with them now. What? Yuan Qibing suddenly stood up. He wasn't dumb. Although he wanted to annihilate Luo Yu immediately, he knew this wasn't to be rushed. If Luo Yu caught the military's eye, then it would be hard for him to do anything. Although his Yuan family was not bad, they weren't enough in comparison. They couldn't even know much of the inside news. Immediately obtain a recipe for the 2 pills before they start their cooperation with the military. And don't they have a pharmacist called you? Take her to Hefeng secretly. As for that Ning Qingxue, can a woman I want fly away? Did you find out who is supporting Luo Yu? After his moment of anger, Yuan Qibing had returned to his cool countenance. Those who knew him would know this was when he was at his angriest and scariest. The woman replied, we can't tell for now. Yu Miaodong prepared a lot of things herself. She's very capable. Capable? Ha ha. The more capable, the better. I like capable women. Hope she's as capable in bed, too. Though this woman is a bit old, she can serve as an entry. Yuan Qibing laughed hysterically. This woman didn't seem to mind Yuan Qibing's laughter, and said calmly, Ning Qingxue has for some reason left Beijing. When we found out that she was going to Ninghai, she had already left. She just flew to Hong Kong and is now waiting for a flight to San Francisco. Yuan Qibing stopped. He was confused. This was the glorious moment of all for Fei Yu. How could she, being the big boss, leave? Anyway, the more alone she was, the better it was for him. Have you found out whether she's married? Yuan Qibing asked. Yes, she is. Her husband is the former young master of the Yi family, but because he wasn't welcomed and was found out to be of bastard blood, he was kicked out of the Yi family. After he married Ning Qingxue, he soon disappeared, the woman replied. Yuan Qibing walked to her and grabbed her ass, squeezing and rubbing. All right, not bad. It was unknown whether he was referring to her work or her ass. However, she remained calm and didn't look harassed at all. Just when he was about to reach his hand into her chest, the phone sounded. Yuan Qibing picked up the phone and just spoke a few words before putting the phone down. He said to the woman, Go out first. Yes. She walked out of his office calmly and without even tidying up her clothes. Seeing this woman walk out, Yuan Qibing called again, yet this time his voice became cold and calculated. If someone heard him now, they wouldn't connect him to the Yuan Qibing who sounded infuriated and threw things around. Uncle Ping, what did my dad say? There were no more emotions in his voice. A clear and deep voice sounded, Young CEO, the CEO is here. I'll hand the phone to him. Soon afterwards, a voice that sounded a little old could be heard. Binger, I know about what has happened. Those Luo you guys are indeed very cocky, but before we act, we need to investigate things clearly. Our number one rule of the family is to do things carefully and take revenge swiftly. We try not to offend people, but once we do, we need to beat them to death. We can't give them any chances of survival. Yes, Dad, I've already investigated them. They don't have that big of a support. I just received news that Ning Qingxue is preparing to go to San Francisco in 2 hours. Not only did he sound slower and more respectful, his tone itself was full of reason. But don't underestimate that husband of Ning Qingxue's. Although he has gone missing from what the Song family members said, this Yi Mo doesn't seem to be simple. The leader of the Song family, Song Qiming, has ordered the Song family members not to offend Yi Mo. I don't know if this is related to the Yi family, but since there was such an order, you need to be careful of that Yi Mo, Yuan Qibing replied. I know. However, the Song family and Yi family were never as strong as they claimed to be. Their opponents didn't even do anything, yet they started to decline. The Song family was even kicked out of Beijing. There was silence on the phone. Afterwards, the old voice sounded again. Binger, although Yuan family started as a business family and is now the largest pharmaceutical company in China, our power is far less than that of those great families of China. There are many things that we don't know. The Song and Yi family might have declined. Who knows if they aren't just showing weakness intentionally? No matter what, you should never underestimate a big family of China, not even an Ning family. There was silence on the phone. Afterwards, the old voice sounded again. Binger, although Yuan family started as a business family and is now the largest pharmaceutical company in China, our power is far less than that of those great families of China. There are many things that we don't know. The Song and Yi family might have declined. Who knows if they aren't just showing weakness intentionally? No matter what, you should never underestimate a big family of China, not even the Ning family. Dad, then this time, should I? Yuan Qibing's tone went a little despondent, but still respectful. Although our Yuan family can't compare with those big families, we can't be bullied by any small fishes either. If that Yi Mo hadn't disappeared, perhaps we would have to be concerned of the Yi family. But now, there's only a Ning Zhongfei who left the Ning family and a recent startup company. That's not enough to ride on our heads. Finally, some joy could be noticed in Yuan Qibing's tone. Dad, you mean? I've already arranged people to handle things in Flowing Snake. You just stay in Beijing for now and make some friends with those big family's members. As for that Ning Qingxue, don't worry, I will send people to board the same plane as her. Lan Yu walked onto the streets, sure that she was free indeed. She could even go to the police right away. But of course she wouldn't do that because this was America and not China. The first thing she did was to find a public phone to call her husband. Hearing that Lan Yu was fine, Ning Zhongfei was very excited. He told Lan Yu to come back and at the same time canceled his plans to go to America. Lan Yu was scared that her husband would be worried. Thus she didn't tell him that she had been kidnapped and just said she'd lost her phone. Ning Zhongfei then wanted to call his daughter, but her phone was turned off. Ning Zhongfei guessed that she might have gone to the U.S. She was probably still on the plane. After his men told him that Lan Yu had called home to say she was safe, Sha Wan finally calmed down a little. If Yi Mo knew that Lan Yu was safe, he wouldn't come to the U.S. If he didn't come to the U.S., he wouldn't find him. Just when Sha Wan had settled down, his men reported to say that the gang leader of the Tang gang, Peng Yueji, was here. Sha Wan was only afraid of Yi Mo. He wasn't afraid of anyone else, not even Jason. Although he was far from as strong as Jason, Jason couldn't kill him. If Jason pissed him off, he just might be the one to kill Jason first. However, Peng Yueji was still the leader of a gang. He couldn't just not see him. Compared to the gangs in Chinatown, his organization was more obscure. Invite him in. Although Peng Yueji was a gang leader, he didn't have enough importance for him to go out and greet him. When Earth Fiend was renowned throughout the world, who had the right to look down on him? No need, I'm in already, a clear voice sounded, and two people walked in. Sha Wan knew Peng Yueji, of course. He was also in San Francisco after all. But he noticed that the person who was talking wasn't Peng Yueji. Instead, it was the young man in front of him. As a gang leader, Peng Yueji was actually 3 steps behind this young man. Just when Sha Wan wanted to ask who this young man was, he saw his face and quickly got up as if his ass were on fire. 5 states Sha Wan greets Yi Mo Qianbei. Sha Wan kneeled down on one knee. He knew Yi Mo was very capable, but he didn't expect him to come to the state this quick, having the gang leader of Tang Gang showing him the way. At this moment, it had only been a few hours since Lan Yu left. Sha Wan's back sweated uncontrollably. Yi Mo had come too quickly. Not only was Peng Yueji in a daze, Yi Mo as well looked confusedly at Sha Wan. Peng Yueji knew his reputation wasn't as grand as that of the big boss of 5 states. Although these guys hadn't been here for that long yet, their name was already pretty big. A few small gangs had wanted to chase them away, but they all disappeared in one night. It was unknown whether because Jason didn't care about the small interests here, or because he too was concerned about the 5 states that he didn't do anything about them. Yet today, their big boss was actually kneeling down. You know me? Yi Mo looked at Sha Wan, who only had one arm, and asked plainly. Sha Wan quickly nodded. Yes, I was once the leader of Earth Fiend. Qianbei killed that bastard Ren Sha, and I managed to escape with my life. I'm very grateful to Qianbei. Hearing Sha Wan's words, Peng Yueji was having tsunamis in his heart. He had never thought that Sha Wan was the former big boss of Earth Fiend. Many stories concerning the disappearance of Earth Fiend circled in the world, but none of them were certain. Peng Yueji now finally knew that the hitman organization Earth Fiend that made the entire world cower in fear had actually been annihilated by Yi Mo. He realized once again that he had underestimated his new big brother. 5 states' fame wasn't that big, but he was sure that if people knew the big boss of 5 states was the former big boss of Earth Fiend, then no one would dare try anything with 5 states. Yi Mo nodded. No wonder when I killed the goo bugs, 2 of them didn't have full vitality. So one of it was yours. I think there were 2 that escaped. Didn't expect one of them to be the big boss of Earth Fiend. Please have mercy, Yi Qianbei. There was nothing but a deep feud between me and Ren Sha. I'm only grateful to Qianbei, and mean no disrespect, Shawan quickly said. He didn't expect that other than him, there had been someone else who also escaped. Yi Mo waved his hand. You don't have to put it like that. It's thanks to your own capabilities that you were able to escape. As for those people who try to mess with me, I would never give them a second chance. But I didn't come here to ask you about this today. I think since you know that I'm Yi Mo, you've done your research on me. With your capabilities, I'm sure you can guess why I came today. Yes, Yi Qianbei. Yesterday, my men were dumb and listened to the words of this guy called Fred. He brought CEO Lon to my place. Luckily, CEO Lon declared who she was, and I immediately brought her to a safe place. I killed those people who brought her here, as well as a black man who tried to assault her. Furthermore, I wanted to go kill that Fred, but he went missing, Sha One answered with fright. He didn't change anything to the story. Yi Mo nodded. Since Sha One had recognized Lan Yu's identity, he wouldn't dare do anything to her. Seeing Yi Mo nod, Sha One finally felt a little relieved and continued, A few hours ago, I already sent her away and ordered 2 men to secretly protect her. I believe she's at the airport now. At this moment, Yi Mo's phone sounded, and he picked up. It was Shi Kaijian, saying that he had seen Lan Yu at the airport and she didn't appear harmed. Yi Mo hung up and said to Sha Wan, Stand up. You did well. I owe you one. Sha Wan stood up in surprise and joy. He wouldn't have expected Yi Mo to be so easy to talk to. Not only did he not use this chance to punish him, he also willingly said he owed him one. Yi Mo's favor was no ordinary thing. Thinking about this, Sha Wan said excitedly, Yi Qianbei, this is what I am supposed to do. You're being too polite. Yi Mo waved his hand. No need. I can help you do one thing within my ability in the future. For now, I'll be going. Qianbei. Wan Bei would like to dare ask Qianbei to stay for dinner. Sha Wan knew this chance was rare and quickly uttered. Yi Mo said plainly, I don't like being around human trafficking. Then Yi Mo left along with Peng Yueji. In San Francisco, although the Vietnamese gang wasn't the #1 most ancient gang, it was definitely one of the older gangs possessing great power. In San Francisco, although the Vietnamese gang wasn't the #1 most ancient gang, it was definitely one of the older gangs possessing great power. When the Chinese gang had been at its prime, the Vietnamese gang was barely able to survive. After the Chinese gang was annihilated, the Vietnamese gang and mountain gang took over large amounts of territory and developed rapidly, until today, where the Vietnamese gang had become the 2nd largest gang. Chu Hongsheng, who had great aspirations but low capabilities, was leading his Hong martial gang on a path of decline. They were far from comparable to the Vietnamese gang, and the Tang gang with restricted land and wealth was even worse. The leader of the Vietnamese gang was called Jin Jiaonan. He had been a high-ranking officer in the Vietnamese military, but because of his insubordination and the killing of his superior's beloved woman, he became a wanted criminal. Thus, he fled to America and established the Vietnamese gang. Jin Jiaonan wasn't someone Zhu Hongsheng could compare with. He had gotten the news of Yi Mo charging into the Hong martial gang's base and massacring the Grey Alliance. Now that Jin Jiaonan also knew that the Grey Alliance had been annihilated, he guessed that Yi Mo's next stop would be his Vietnamese gang, for no other reason than because Yi Mo wanted to find out Sister Yan's whereabouts. And that bracelet had been robbed precisely from the Vietnamese gang. Even though Jin Jiaonan believed that the Vietnamese gang wouldn't lose to anyone in Chinatown, he wasn't so cocky as to think he could annihilate the Grey Alliance. So, when he heard that Yi Mo had done so, Jin Jiaonan's face turned very bad. He was sure it wouldn't be long before Yi Mo came to their HQ. Ershi, what do you think? Jin Jiaonan really wished to retreat, but he didn't want to leave the empire he had here. Also, subconsciously, he thought that the reason Yi Mo had managed to annihilate the Grey Alliance had to, of course, be related to his power, but also for a major part because Jason must have underestimated Yemo. If he was prepared and bombarded Yemo with heavy firepower the moment he arrived, Jean Jianan believed that Yemo would have no way to escape. Erxi's full name was Li Erxi. He had come from Vietnam to San Francisco together with Jean Jianan and had helped him build the gang. It could be said he was Jean Jianan's strongest help. Li Erxi mused a bit before saying, "We don't know this Yemo very well, but he was capable of easily killing the more than 20 people Johnson had brought and subjugated Johnson with ease. It's clear that he's really powerful, whether or not it had anything to do with Jason underestimating him. We need to deal with him very carefully. But just as you said, no matter how strong he is, if we surround Yemo and spray bullets all over him, how can he live?" "Erxi, you mean that we should fight?" Jean Jianan's eyebrows raised. He was of the same opinion, but just felt something wasn't right. Hence he had asked Li Erxi. Li Erxi nodded seriously and said, "I have two suggestions. One, we immediately leave San Francisco as far away as we can. Since we can't understand Yemo, we can avoid him. Two, we simply kill him. Once he enters our trap, we concentrate our fire and just kill him. No matter how strong he is, he can't avoid that much firepower unless he can fly." Jean Jianan heard Li Erxi's words and clenched his fists, punched in the air. "Let's do it. I refuse to believe that he can fly. We've been building what we have in San Francisco for decades. I really can't just let it go like that. Erxi, gather up all the brothers in the gang, and let's do this." At this moment, in a simple room in the HQ of Tang Gang, Yemo sat at the top with Peng Yueji, Shi Kai-jen, and Tong Zhu on the side. "Brother Yi, do we go to Jean Jianan's base now?" Shi Kai-jen had known Yemo for the longest, so he just asked. Yemo shook his head. "If after this we all left, then it would be fine to go up to their door right now. However, after this you guys will be staying for the moment, so it wouldn't be good to charge up to their doors immediately. Yueji, what do you think?" Peng Yueji bowed before replying, "Brother Yi, I think we should attack at night. Tonight, there's a clash between Mountain Gang and Hong Martial Gang. If we wait until night to annihilate the Vietnamese gang, then it'll be unlikely for anyone to intervene. And after the two gangs clash, and we eradicate the Vietnamese gang, then our Tang Gang will be able to grow rapidly here." Yemo nodded. This Peng Yueji had some brains and thought the same as him. Although it was very easy for him to annihilate Mountain Gang, for the Tang Gang to grow afterwards they would have to get rid of Hong Martial Gang. But the two originated from the same gang. It wouldn't be good to just kill them off like that. "Let's do this then. Tonight I will go to the Vietnamese gang. After Mountain Gang and Hong Martial Gang clash, Yueji will bring people to take over the turf, take the Vietnamese gang's land too, and gray alliances as well." This expansion was nothing to Yemo, but as for Peng Yueji and company, they were all too excited. In the future, Tang Gang would be the biggest gang in all of San Francisco. The HQ of the Vietnamese gang was at a pier. Yemo believed that they must have already gotten news of him annihilating the Gray Alliance. Indeed, as soon as Yemo arrived, his spirit sense noticed people hiding, ready to ambush him. Although they didn't have as many weapons as Jason had used, some of them even took out rocket launchers. The moment Yemo stood in their trap, all these attacks would come smashing at him. Even Yemo wasn't confident he could escape with that many weapons firing at him. Jason had still been of the mind to play games with him, but seeing these Vietnamese gang people, they would definitely try to kill him straight away. He's already here. He's about 250 meters away from us. Far away, Jean Jianan and Li Erxi watched Yemo on a device. He turned to leave. Did he see it? Should we attack? Li Erxi noticed that Yemo was going to leave, getting further and further away. Jean Jianan's face changed as he spoke with satisfaction. "Don't attack. If we attack him now, he would be injured at most. We probably can't kill him. We shouldn't scare him. So wait a little while longer." Yemo didn't go all too far. He knew that as soon as he had gotten near, his actions had been under surveillance. He turned back to the pier and turned invisible. Then, with his fastest speed, he started killing his way to those gang members ambushing him. A few minutes later, Yi Mo appeared in Jin Zhaonan and Li Erxie's view again. "He's back, and he's entered attacking range," Li Erxie said with excitement. Jin Zhaonan also became very thrilled. He thought that as long as he killed Yi Mo tonight, no one else would be able to pose a threat anymore. "Open fire," Jin Zhaonan ordered, and also raised his own gun. However, there weren't the loud bangs of guns he had imagined, nor were there any explosions. Jin Zhaonan was just about to start shooting when he found that the gun in his hands had disappeared. Standing in front of him, and Li Erxie was a young man with a sneer on his face. "You are Yi Mo." Li Erxie's heart sunk to the bottom. He knew that it wouldn't be easy to kill Yi Mo, but he had still underestimated him. Yi Mo grabbed a rifle and bent it. The gun barrel turned into a U-shape. "I am Yi Mo." Yi Mo dumped the gun and kicked Li Erxie away as he sat down. Jin Zhaonan suddenly noticed blood flowing from where his men had been hiding before. He pointed at Yi Mo in terror. "Yi Mo, what did you do to my men? How dare you kill all of my men, you—" Yi Mo looked at Jin Zhaonan as though he was an idiot. "You're saying that I went too far? So I shouldn't kill your men and should just bring over my head to you?" Li Erxie stopped Jin Zhaonan. He knew that Jin Zhaonan was different from Jason. These people Yi Mo killed were all his brothers he had brought along from the army. Every one of them was precious to him. And now, Yi Mo had killed them all. No wonder he was extremely furious. But Jin Zhaonan was obviously dumbed by his fury. No matter how angry he was, the person standing before them could take their lives at any time. "Yi Mo, I realize that we underestimated you, and now that you killed all of our brothers in the gang, what do you want? Under what conditions can you let the two of us go? Name your pièce," Li Erxie said calmly. Hearing Li Erxie's words, Jin Zhaonan also gradually calmed down. He took note of the situation he was in. Yi Mo could kill him like a chicken at any moment. He regretted not taking Li Erxie's first suggestion. He should have abandoned everything here and taken his brothers away from San Francisco. How could someone who could effortlessly annihilate the Gray Alliance be taken out so easily? It was already too late by now. Only when Jin Zhaonan had calmed down did he finally realize Yi Mo's terror. It was already too late by now. Only when Jin Zhaonan had calmed down did he finally realize Yi Mo's terror. "Tell me any news you have about Sister Yen. I will decide whether or not you live based on that," Yi Mo said plainly. "I can hand over the entire wealth our gang has accumulated all these years," Jin Zhaonan offered. Yi Mo sneered. "You think I care about that little money of yours? To me, it's much too simple to earn money. I will give you 1 minute. If you don't speak up now, there will be no second chance." Before Yi Mo said anything else, Li Erxie recounted, "More than 10 years ago, the Gray Alliance fought the Chinese gang and ordered us to come along. At that time, our power was too weak, so we didn't dare disobey. We could only send out 10 of our brothers to help. 2 of them indeed met Sister Yen. A guy from the Chinese gang who was protecting Sister Yen killed one of our brothers, while the other brother escaped. And then recently, I heard that you got that bracelet from one of our men. It turned out that that bracelet had been taken from Sister Yen by the brother who escaped. He had reported that although he had seen Sister Yen, she had escaped. Aside from that, he never mentioned anything about getting a bracelet." Jin Zhaonan quickly nodded. "Yes, that is what happened. Sister Yen wasn't anyone important anyway, so even though she disappeared, no one cared to investigate." Yi Mo could tell the two weren't lying, and that they knew very little. He had come to the U.S. to investigate the bracelet, but the lead died off here. Thinking about this, Yi Mo got annoyed. He raised his hand and gave the 2 of them a fireball each. The next day, The biggest news in San Francisco was the clash between mobs with the police attacking suddenly. In one night, many gangs had disappeared, returning peace to the citizens. Of course, this was just the official story. The actual situation was that Grey Alliance and the Vietnamese gang had been annihilated by YMO, and the Mountain Gang and Hong Marshall Gang had both been heavily wounded. Hence, they were all scooped up by the police. Now, the Tang Gang was the biggest gang. Although there were a lot of small gangs, no one dared fight for interests with the Tang Gang. At this moment, Ning Qingxue sat on the plane towards San Francisco with her brows tightly locked together. Their Feiyu Corporation could finally rest easy, yet now she couldn't contact her mother. To her, her parents' safety was the most important, and the company's prosperity came after that. If something happened to her mother, then no matter how well things were with Feiyu Corporation, it wouldn't be what she wanted. So, knowing that her mother had gotten lost in the U.S., the first thing Ning Qingxue did was to go to San Francisco from Hong Kong. The plane flight was more than 10 hours. Ning Qingxue rubbed her head and tried to relax. She took out a fireball charm and looked at it carefully. It looked like an exquisitely decorated piece of paper. She had told Tang Beiwei that she was going out for a few days, and Tang Beiwei persuaded her to take this. Tang Beiwei gave her more than 10. She couldn't reject it, so she took them and put them in her bag. Without what had happened with Su Jingwen, Ning Qingxue would think there was something wrong with Tang Beiwei, but now she didn't dare think of the charm as something useless. Just when Ning Qingxue was studying the charm, two ordinary men walked past her, seeming like they were going to use the toilet. But when they walked past her, Ning Qingxue suddenly felt her necklace go a little cold. If it were before, she wouldn't think much of it. But now that she knew her necklace was a defensive artifact, this sudden coldness made her alert. She subconsciously looked at the two men, and at this moment, one of them looked back. He immediately avoided her gaze. There was something wrong with these two. Ning Qingxue quickly stood up and wanted to report this suspicious situation, but the moment she did, the middle-aged woman next to her suddenly pointed a gun at her and said softly, "Mrs. Ning, please don't move around. My gun isn't very obedient." At this moment, Ning Qingxue had understood that these people were targeting her. She sat down slowly and looked coldly at the woman. "Who are you? What do you want?" "You don't need to worry about that. You just need to remember that you're under our control now. We're not hijacking the plane, though. We're here to invite Mrs. Ning to be our guest." The woman smiled. In her eyes, it was really an insult to her identity to use a gun against a weak woman like Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue didn't feel very anxious and declared frostily, "Tell me who you are, Elle. If you don't, I will resist immediately." The woman smiled. "It's fine if I tell you. However, it's not because I'm afraid you will resist, but because you will soon see that person. His surname is Yuan. Shouldn't have annoyed him." "So it's that scum," Ning Qingxue sneered. She didn't think that Yuan Qibing would be this bold to abduct her on the plane. The two men didn't come back, but Ning Qingxue was sure that they were watching her from close by. Seeing Ning Qingxue quieten down, the woman didn't say anything further. Their mission was to watch Ning Qingxue until Yuan Qibing came over. "Nobody move. We are simply hijacking the plane, not killing anyone. But if someone doesn't do as told, then don't blame us." The two men suddenly took out their guns and pointed at the passengers. Ning Qingxue was stunned. Was Yuan Qibing crazy? No matter how much power he had, can he really hijack a plane? Is he not afraid of dragging the Yuan family into a bottomless pit? Ning Qingxue subconsciously looked at the woman beside her and noticed that she was very shocked, too. Ning Qingxue immediately realized that the thugs and the woman weren't from the same group. They just happened to be on the same plane. Although Ning Qingxue was calm, not everyone was as calm as her. A fat man immediately screamed and ran off from his seat. Bang! Blood spilled, and he crashed onto the ground. The plane was silent. Even the cries of children were stopped by adults. There was only suppressed sniffing. At this moment, the plane suddenly started shaking. Some people's faces were already getting pale. Bang, bang, there was the feeling of losing balance. Everyone feared that it was the end. The plane was crashing. The plane became boisterous again. Two white men, who just got up, were immediately shot. As they fell, the two thugs yelled again, "Everyone sit down. Anyone who disobeys will be executed immediately." At this moment, the plane finally stabilized and seemed to be gradually ascending. At this moment, the plane finally stabilized and seemed to be gradually ascending. Ning Qingxue took a small breath of relief. She wasn't afraid of death, but she didn't want to die here for no reason. Everyone started to calm down as the plane stabilized. Just as the thugs had promised, they didn't want their lives. At this time, a man walked out with an HKMP-5 assault rifle in his hands. He waved to the two men pointing guns at the passengers and walked along the aisle. Every time he saw a young and beautiful woman, he nodded and appeared to be delighted. Ning Qingshue's heart sunk. Just when she wanted to find something to cover her face with, that man stood in front of her. For a long time, she didn't hear him say anything. Ning Qingxue looked up to see this man staring dazedly at her. He had even started to drool. "Yash, Chinese woman, you are so beautiful. You, come out." This man pointed the gun at Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue shook. She knew she was done for. This person wasn't going to let her go. She desperately tried to think of a way to get away from this person, but couldn't think of any. Then the other two started muttering in Japanese. So they were all from Japan. Ning Qingxue suddenly thought of the middle-aged woman beside her and grabbed her hand and said, "Didn't you say you were going to take me to America? If I'm taken away by these people, how are you going to bring me to the U.S.? If you don't protect me, young Master Yuan will be very angry." Ning Qingxue was prepared to die, but if she did, she was going to bring Yuan Qibing's person down with her. As expected, the middle-aged woman's face went pale, and she quickly said, "This has nothing to do with me. I don't know you. Let me go." But no matter what she said, that man only got more impatient, so he grabbed the woman and tossed her to the side, starting to spray her with bullets. She was soon soaked in blood. Women are the most precious thing to us. Now that I've already killed her, if you still waste my time, then don't blame me for what's coming next. Pretty Chinese woman, he pointed the gun at Ning Qingxue and threatened. That was actually Chinese, though the pronunciation was a bit off. Ning Qingxue originally planned to get the gun from that woman, but looking at her body soaked in blood, she felt disgusted. She didn't know where the woman had hidden the gun. Now that the Japanese kept pointing the gun at her, she could only stand up and walk to the end of the plane. There were also two hijackers at the end of the plane. It could be seen that this was a big crew, but Ning Qingxue didn't care. She was thinking about how not to be raped. The two men saw this guy and bowed. He kicked open a door and aimed the gun at Ning Qingxue, signaling her to enter. Seeing Ning Qingxue walk in, he closed the door and laughed. "Chinese woman, take off your clothes. Let me admire your body first. You are the prettiest Asian I have ever seen. Today, you will be my woman." The man went to a seat and sat down. Ning Qingxue's eyes brightened up. She saw a parachute in the room, and there was an emergency door. If she could get this parachute and jump out from there, Ning Qingxue's heart started beating rapidly. She really didn't want to die like that. There were too many things she still had to do. "Hurry up, don't make me do it. If I do it, you won't be so comfortable. I like my women tamed." The man saw Ning Qingxue start to look around and was getting restless. Ning Qingxue suddenly smiled sweetly and sat down. Upon seeing this smile, the man who was getting impatient was dumbfounded. Such a beauty! He felt his heart beating fast. Just imagining how this woman was about to be his, he couldn't hold the excitement in his heart. Dong Ben Inji had seen too many beauties and taken countless of them, but this was the first time he saw someone like Ning Qingxue who would make him feel as though he were in heaven just by gazing at her. And this goddess in front of his eyes was about to be his. This almost made him doubt reality, but soon he refocused. He knew that on the plane he might be the boss. Once they got off and got into the base, this woman wouldn't be his. I'd like to know why you hijack a plane yet don't want money. Why do you need such a big plane? Ning Qingxue asked. Her hand was grabbing onto a fireball charm. The question was just to distract him. She didn't know if the fireball charm Tang Beiwei gave her would be of any use. If it wasn't, she would be no match for this guy. So, she didn't dare use the fireball straight away. She had to find something to kill herself with before the event of the fireball charm turning out to be useless. Even if she had to die, she couldn't be assaulted by an animal. You ask too many questions. But my beauty, since you're about to enter the base, you are one of us. It's fine if I tell you. You can call yourself lucky. This plane has Professor E.I.A. Stein in it. He is the person we're looking for. Of course, everyone else on the plane is a bonus and will be serving our great country. You should be honored that you're about to be a part of our great empire, Dongben Inji said with pride. Professor E.I.A. Stein? The 2 times Nobel Prize winner for chemistry? Ning Qingxue was really shocked. She didn't expect the professor to be in Hong Kong and take the same plane as her to San Francisco. What did these people want a chemistry professor for? Ning Qingxue suddenly figured. Did these people want to start World War III? She suddenly thought of one more thing and said, 3 years ago, a nuclear physicist called Where Bro disappeared on a passenger jet. 5 years ago, the electron specialist Pili. Dong Beninji laughed. Your imagination sure is good. But yes, you're right. They are all serving our great empire at our base. Ning Qingxue was shocked. These disappearances were all related to them. Yet for some reason, it had remained unknown who did it. Ning Qingxue shook. She remembered what she was about to do and suppressed the thoughts in her mind. Ning Qingxue noticed a small dagger not far away. She rejoiced and ran towards it. Dong Ben Inji saw this and sneered. He sent a palm towards Ning Qingxue. Thud! Ning Qingxue grabbed the dagger as Dong Ben Inji was blocked by a white barrier which shocked him away, sending him crashing into the metal wall. Dong Ben Inji looked at his palm in astonishment. It was red as though he'd just slapped a very hard surface. He looked at the woman, and there seemed to be nothing in front of her. Grabbing the dagger, Ning Qingxue rejoiced. This defensive necklace was useful indeed. She could rest easy now. Even if her fireball charm turned out to be useless, she could commit suicide with the dagger. At this moment, Ning Qingxue was full of gratitude towards Yi Mo. If it wasn't for Yi Mo, that palm would have injured her, and there would be no way for her to get the dagger. Dong Ben Inji seemed to notice something was up and grabbed the gun beside him. But before he could raise it, Ning Qingxue threw out a fireball charm, saying Lin. Rumble, a ball of fire flashed, deforming Dong Ben Inji into a mess of flames. The fire burned rapidly, and it took just a few moments for Dong Ben Inji to be turned into charcoal before he even had time to cry. Ning Qingxue looked at this scene in shock and couldn't make sense of it. She was still wondering if the fireball charm would be useful or not, when instantaneously it turned a living person into charcoal. There was not a single drop of blood left. An extreme sense of disgust surged up, and Ning Qingxue started vomiting. Her brain was in chaos, still not comprehending fully what had just happened. After a long while, Ning Qingxue calmed down and eventually wrapped her head around things. Everything that just happened was real. She quickly walked up and grabbed the gun. So these fireball charms are genuine too, Ning Qingxue murmured. If what had happened didn't seem so real, she would have thought she was dreaming. So these fireball charms are genuine too, Ning Qingxue murmured. If what had happened didn't seem so real, she would have thought she was dreaming. Bang bang, there were two more gunshots, and Ning Qingxue just realized her current predicament. She was still on the plane, and these people seemed to be hijacking it to some base. If she went into that base, there would be no way for her to ever run away. Thinking about this, Ning Qingxue no longer dared to hesitate and quickly set up the parachute. Luckily, she had learnt this in uni. Ning Qingxue put the parachute on and grabbed a big bag, putting in some food and water. Then there were more gunshots, as someone seemed to be walking over. Ning Qingxue quickly opened the emergency exit and jumped off. In one night, the San Francisco mafia powers had been washed over. However, the government was busy investigating the alien invasion and didn't have time to care. With another plane from Hong Kong to San Francisco suddenly disappearing, this increased the government's efforts in the alien investigation. Yi Mo left Shi Kaijian and Tong Zhu here to help Peng Yueji develop Tangang while he went back to Beijing. Since he couldn't find out where Sister Yan was, there was no point in staying in the U.S. He had too many things to do, the main thing being to gather herbs and go to the small world to get revenge from Tai Yi. Returning to Beijing, Yi Mo already knew that the Luo Yu conference was long since over and that Fei Yu had been chosen. Yi Mo was very happy with this. It didn't matter if other companies gave Luo Yu more benefits than Fei Yu. He felt it was right to help his father-in-law out. Moreover, Yi Mo believed that even though Ning Qingxue lost her memories for the moment, one day she would remember everything again. Ning Qingxue was someone he loved, and she was his wife. He wouldn't let their family's company be dominated by the will of another company. Yu Miaodan and company had already gone back to Flowing Snake. Yi Mo decided to go see Yi Ling too before returning to Flowing Snake. Xiao, please let me go. Can't you give me a chance to pursue happiness? If you really like me, let me go. Stop pestering me, a crisp woman's voice sounded. But what caught Yi Mo's attention was the name Xiao. Yi Mo looked up and saw Xiao standing not too far away. There was a young girl standing in front of him. She looked not bad, but because of the way she dressed, Yi Mo didn't like her. Yi Mo was surprised to meet Xiao here. Ever since he left Ning Hai Uni, he had never seen him again. And due to all sorts of things later, he didn't have the time to go looking for him. Now that he saw Xiao, Yi Mo was very happy and walked to him. Tan, you know my heart for you. Why are you still leaving? Those people are lying to you. Tan, don't leave, we can start again. Believe me, we can start again. Xiao was about to cry. Yi Mo frowned and stopped his steps. Start again, the girl sneered. Start again with what? You don't even have a job now, and you're about to go to jail. Are you going to drag me with you? If you really want the best for me, then please let me go. You gave me this necklace. Now you can have it back. The girl dumped a platinum necklace in Xiao's hands. Please don't come looking for me again. Then Tan turned to leave. Xiao suddenly called. Tan, if you don't come back, you will never see me again. Tan turned around and looked coldly at Xiao, declaring, Sure, threatening me with death? Then go die. I will be happy if I don't see you. Afterwards, a red sports car came over and parked not too far from Tan. Tan, get on. The windows of the car opened, revealing a fat, coarse face. Tan smiled and ran over. She opened the door and kissed that coarse face. Xiao looked on the side in shock. There was no more blood running through his face. Yi Mo sighed. He felt this world was becoming more and more like his world. In Luo Yu continent, power was everything. Here, money was everything. There was no difference. Yi Mo walked in front of Xiao and patted him on the shoulder. Brother, you're a man. Why worry about not having some woman? Although this woman looks not bad, it's better to stay away from her. Xiao turned his head over numbly, but soon his face was colored in surprise. Yi Mo, it's actually you? I went to look for you a few times, but never found you. As though the trauma from the girl had disappeared, there was only joy in his eyes. Yi Mo was his true friend. After graduation, he realized that although many students were polite and nice to him, once something happened, they all stayed away from him in fear of being dragged down with him. Yi Mo studied Shishio. His hair was messy, and he was dressed very casually. He seemed miserable. Shishio, what happened to you? Why are you like this? Didn't you say you had a place to go after graduation? A government department or something? Yi Mo asked strangely. Shishio's eyes went dull, and the joy of seeing Yi Mo faded a lot. Yi Mo noticed and knew something big must have happened to Shishio, so he said, "Let's find a place to talk." Shishio nodded and after a while asked, "Yi Mo, how have you been after graduating? I had some things going on before graduation, so I wasn't able to connect to you. And then, when I went to find you, you had already left Ninghai." Yi Mo smiled. "I've been quite well recently. I even earned some money." Shishio looked at Yi Mo's clothes. Although they were clean and tidy, they didn't seem to be very good brands. He knew Yi Mo's character. He loved face, so Shishio didn't point it out. However, he didn't know that the Yi Mo in his impression was completely different to the current Yi Mo. Yi Mo was really grateful to Shishio. If it wasn't for him, he might never have woken up and may have disappeared forever. And Shishio had been truly nice to him. He was genuine. "Let's go drink." Yi Mo pointed at a bar not far away. Ah. Shishio looked at the name and shook his head. "Wutong Bar. You need a gold card for that. And it's very expensive. Let's go to a different place." "You need a gold card." Yi Mo hesitated. He didn't care about money, but he didn't have the gold card. He couldn't just steal one again like last time. Yi Mo didn't want to do that just for finding a place to talk. "Then let's go to a different place." Just after Yi Mo finished, he saw a woman carrying a child standing in front of him. "Aren't you my savior, Dr. Mo?" This woman walked in front of Yi Mo and bowed, while calling out in joy, "It's you." Yi Mo also recognized the person. It was that girl he met on the train. He remembered her name to be Wang Yan, and that she had been infertile. Then he gave her 3 herbs, and now she was carrying a child. It seemed she was cured. Wang Yan pulled the man beside her excitedly and said, "Dway, this is the Dr. Mo I told you about. Who would have thought I'd see him here today?" The man heard Wang Yan's words and quickly bowed to Yi Mo. He was really grateful to Yi Mo. These past couple of years, although they had saved quite some money, they hadn't been able to get a child, which troubled them greatly. Hence, they thanked Yi Mo from the bottom of their heart. "Mr. Savior, I was stingy before and didn't even give you a card. You must take this card now no matter what." Before, Wang Yan had suspected Yi Mo was a fraud and didn't give her card to Yi Mo. She regretted it so many times afterwards. So, the moment she saw him, she took out a card. Yi Mo waved his hand. "No need that. I still have some money and don't really need it. But I don't have a gold card for this bar. If possible, can you two bring us in?" "Yes, yes, of course." The man pulled out his gold card and gave it to Yi Mo. Although Yi Mo wore ordinary clothes, he had experienced far too many things doing business. Yi Mo didn't take it. Although he wanted the card, he couldn't just take someone else's. "I still have another here." Wang Yan saw Yi Mo's hesitation and quickly took out her card and said, "In that case, I won't be polite." Yi Mo took the card. Seeing Yi Mo and Shishio go in, Wang Yan pulled her husband and said, "Dway, let's prepare a card in a bit and then go to their spot to drink with them. We mustn't miss this chance to thank him." "Sorry, there are no more free rooms." "Sorry, there are no more free rooms." Yi Mo looked around casually. The place looked like a bar, but was of a much higher standard than that. Yi Mo scanned with his spirit sense and knew that there were still a lot of rooms available, especially the high-class ones. However, since they didn't give him a room, it meant the gold card level was too low. Thus, Yi Mo didn't mind, and he just spoke a few words. Since there are no more free rooms, just give us 2 cups of coffee to take outside. Looking at Yi Mo, and Xiao walk towards a corner of the main hall. The waitress finally felt relieved. She was most scared of meeting those who had low-level cards but thought they were number one. The coffee was delivered quickly. Yi Mo waved the waiter away and then asked Xiao, "Tell me, what happened? I've looked for you a few times before graduation, but couldn't find you. What happened in your family for it to take so long?" Xiao stayed silent for a long while before sighing. "Yi Mo, if you were still in the Yi family, perhaps you could help me out. But now, what's the point of talking about it? Sigh, it's all in the past." Yi Mo drank the coffee and urged, "Xiao, if we're friends, then tell me what happened. If you don't, how do I know if I can help you or not?" Xiao's eyes went red. Ever since he left uni and things happened, no one had ever said they were his friend. But today he heard the word friend again. "Yi Mo, looking at you, I know you're a whole lot better than me. At least you're no longer affected by yen. Xiao drank all of the coffee as his eyes seemed lost. He quickly continued talking, though. "My dad used to be the governor of the town of Cha Ci. The reason I said I had a place to go to after graduation was due to my dad. After graduation, I was able to become a government official at the office in the local government, and due to my achievements and my dad's connections, half a year later, I rose to the position of vice manager." Yi Mo frowned. Although he didn't understand politics in China, half a year after graduation, and he became a vice manager. This was too fast. If there was someone to support you then, it was fine. If not, however, it would be a double-edged sword. And Xiao's dad was only a town governor. If that town belonged to a small city, then this governor would be even lower ranked in power. How could his dad bring him to be at the managerial level? Was it your dad or someone else that promoted you? Yi Mo suddenly asked. Xiao looked at Yi Mo in shock. He had also connected the dots later, yet Yi Mo asked this question instantaneously. Although Yi Mo wasn't involved in politics, it seemed his awareness was better than his. Xiao held his fists tightly. "It wasn't my dad. It was the town vice governor that my dad didn't really like. The reason was that during the flood, I had gained merit organizing everything to save assets, so that vice governor suggested me to be the manager in charge of floods. My dad rejected it, but that vice governor said that if I wasn't promoted when making accomplishments, it would affect the eagerness of other officials to work hard. So like that, I became a vice manager. At the time, my dad also thought that I had made great achievements. He also thought that this was the vice governor trying to amend relations with him, because my dad was about to be promoted." Yi Mo sighed. Politics really meant trouble every step of the way. But as soon as I was promoted, it alarmed the people in the small city's government, and someone immediately came to investigate my dad. Those people were like ravenous wolves charging into my house, finding large amounts of bribery evidence and emails. That night, my dad was taken away. My mother was already sick at the time, and after that, she has never woken up again. Had your dad really been bribed? Yi Mo asked. Xiao shook his head. My dad never takes bribes. If he did, my mother wouldn't have been sick for all those years and not have money for an operation. All of that evidence was made up. The newspaper wrapped around the cash was from that day. Yet this guy said the money was from a few months before. This was so ridiculous that I wanted to charge up and contest, but my dad stopped me. Even Yi Mo sighed at the darkness of politics. After my mother passed away, there was soon news of my dad committing suicide due to fear for his crimes. I know that my dad was innocent and he wouldn't commit suicide, but I even get to see him one last time. I understood my powerlessness, and perhaps I will never be able to get revenge for my parents. I was relieved of all my duties. When I got home, Tan became my only spiritual support, but today she left Shirshio's eyes went red. Yi Mo sunk into silence. He didn't know how to comfort Shirshio. If possible, he would rather he never get involved with politics again, but he knew that Shirshio had to get his revenge with his own hands. If he wasn't involved in politics anymore, he would never be able to get revenge. Although it was easy for him to do it in Shirshio's stead, but that would leave him with regrets. When I met Tan Tan, I was still just an office man. She didn't mind at the time, though, and she was very nice to my mother. She was always taking care of my mother. I don't believe that she could change into this. She isn't a woman who loves money, but Shirshio couldn't help himself and started to cry. Shirshio, do you want revenge? Yi Mo suddenly said. Revenge? Shirshio looked up at Yi Mo in surprise. Do you know that I'm about to go to jail? How can I get revenge? Yi Mo asked strangely. Jail? Weren't you already relieved of your duties? Why are you still going to jail? Shirshio sighed. After my dad was taken away, I went around borrowing money, trying to get my dad out. I spent a lot of money, but Dad still remained inside. A lot of the money had interest. I already sold our house, but it's still far from enough. The court has notified me that if I don't pay it back, I will be locked up in a week. How much do you owe? Yi Mo sighed. He believed Shirshio had fallen into a trap borrowing money. Those people asking for interest know how much Shirshio had in assets, but were still willing to lend him money. No way, there was nothing dodgy about this. The loan is 200K, but including the interest, it's now 500. 000, Shirshio said sadly. Even Yi Mo slammed the table in anger. How can the interest be that high? Boss Huang, why are there so many flies in your bar? A strange voice sounded. Two young men walked into the bar, just now with a middle-aged man carefully accompanying them. The young man walking at the front also had two bodyguards behind him. Hearing the young man's words, that middle-aged man quickly said, Young Master Cho, please go inside a room first. Why bother with these insignificant things? Are you saying that I'm being unreasonable? The youth asked as his face sunk. No. I'll make them leave immediately to prevent them from ruining your mood. Yi Mo's eyes went cold. It seemed that less and less people knew him after he'd left Beijing. Even some random guy dares kick him away. Shirshio pulled Yi Mo and said, That guy is doing it on purpose. I know the person following behind young Master Chiu. The vice governor who schemed against my dad is his big uncle. He's called Dong Jia, a student of Beijing University. He definitely saw me and is looking for trouble. That young Master Chiu isn't simple. Yi Mo, let's go first. Yi Mo understood now. No wonder there was such a cocky person. So what if someone slammed the table? You two go out. This place doesn't welcome you. Two security guards came in front of Yi Mo. Piss off. Yi Mo looked coldly at the two security guards. If you don't piss off in 3 seconds, then don't blame me for the consequences. Fuck, you're asking for it. One security guard pulled out a baton and was about to smack down on Yi Mo. Don't fight, Dash. Wang Yan saw something happen to Yi Mo and quickly called out as she ran over hurriedly. Pung pung dash, 2 thuds sounded. The security detail obviously ignored the cries of Wang Yan. Pung pung dash, 2 thuds sounded. The security detail obviously ignored the cries of Wang Yan. It had clearly been those 2 security guards who had attacked, yet it was still them who got kicked away. They crashed underneath that young Master Chiu's feet and couldn't get up. Wang Yan and her husband were stunned, but they still wanted to go over. However, they were pulled back by someone they knew. Wang Yan, do you not want to have a good life? The people being beaten are Chiu family people. Wang Yan was feeling conflicted over what she should do. She knew that she wouldn't be able to change anything even if she did go over. But if she didn't, her conscience would weigh heavily on her. She knew her friend was right. The person in front of them was someone they couldn't afford to mess with. Not just them, but in the entire city of Beijing, there weren't many who could mess with young Master Chiu. Boss Huang looked at his men, who were kicked far away. From the young man drinking coffee to here, that was a distance of a few meters. Normal people wouldn't be able to kick that far. Boss Huang began to worry. He wasn't a noob. How could any ordinary person kick his security personnel away so easily? But he was well aware that young Master Chiu wasn't simple either. He didn't want to offend either side. Fuck, drag that bastard over. Young Master Chiu's face sunk as he ordered his 2 bodyguards. He had just come from some small place to Beijing, and since then, he found that the name of the Chiu family really came in handy, so he got used to being everyone's overlord. How could he possibly take Yemo, who hadn't even been able to get a room? Seriously? The 2 bodyguards shook their heads, but their master had made the order, so they had to go up. They were much stronger than the 2 security guards, but facing Yemo, they were still kicked away immediately. They couldn't even touch Yemo's clothes. Although he knew young Master Chiu's identity was big, Boss Huang didn't dare call for help. His vast experience in this society had taught him that the studious were usually poor, while the physically strong were rich. Yemo's power meant that he definitely couldn't be underestimated. Seeing his 2 bodyguards get beaten down, young Master Chiu knew he had encountered a tough one. He pointed at Yemo. If you've got any balls, then sit there and don't move. Then he pulled out his phone and seemed like he was calling for backup. Yemo stood up and walked in front of him. He raised his hand and slapped young Master Chiu. Chiu spat out many teeth, and his ear also started bleeding. It soon became obvious that his ear was gone. He was slapped to the ground in a daze. There was terror in his eyes. He didn't expect someone would really dare hit him like this in Beijing. And now he couldn't even crawl up. Yemo looked at Dong Jie, who seemed lost, and slapped him as well. Dong Jie's head banged against the door. There was just buzzing sounds in his mind, and he couldn't think about anything else. Seeing Yemo walk back, Xiu quickly grabbed him. We need to go. Quickly. Why did you beat them? Oh, is he special? Yemo sat down again. Xiu looked around and knew they couldn't get away anyways. He sighed and explained that young Master Chiu is from the Chiu family. Do you know the Beijing Chiu family? Yemo shook his head. He had heard of the Li, Zhang, Song, Yi, and Qiao families as the 5 great families of Beijing, and even of other families such as the Qin, Han, Ning, O, and Zhua, but he had never heard of the Chiu family. Xiu looked worriedly at young Master Chiu, who was still on the ground, and then informed, You should know the 5 great families of China, right? You came from the Yi family after all. It said that the Yi, Song, and Qiao family offended a powerful person and are on the decline. The Song family even straight out disappeared from Beijing. The Yi and Qiao family went more low profile. It's even being said that the Qiao family is gradually fading out of the 5 great families and changing into a business family. Well, the 2 new families replacing them are the Chiu and Dai family. How would you know about this? Yemo really didn't know there were families replacing the Song and Qiao family. But word of mouth can't really be trusted. At least Yemo didn't feel that the Yi family was on the decline. They are just keeping a low profile. Yi Zifeng wasn't old, but his actions were low-key and mature. Xiu had a hurtful look in his eyes as he replied, Tan told me I owed a lot of money and couldn't stay in Chaxi. I was forced to repay the loan every day, so then Tan told me to go to Beijing. She was studying here while working at the same time. I also found a job and wanted to pay off my loan and just live a good life with Tan. But, as though realizing it wasn't the time to talk about that, Xiu quickly returned to the topic that young Master Chiu is probably called Chiu Zhizha. He's also studying at Beijing University and is very arrogant. He has no brains, so Dong Jie sucked up to him really easily and is now following after him like a dog. But due to his family, no one dares do anything to him. I heard he has a brother called Chiu Zhixue, who is very powerful. Suddenly, the police siren sounded outside. and a few policemen charged in, quickly surrounding Yi Mo and Shirxiu. You beat these people? A middle-aged policeman walked in front of Yi Mo and asked seriously. Yi Mo nodded. Yes, but it was rightful self-defense. I was sitting here with my friend, and they attacked me, so I defended myself. A young policeman saw young Master Chiu, who was still in critical condition, and took out his cuffs. He walked in front of Yi Mo and wanted to say something, but someone behind him spoke up. Move aside. I'm taking this person away. As soon as this voice sounded, the two policemen quickly moved away, after which a man in his 30s walked out. You're very bold, beating people in Beijing, actually beating Qiu Zhizha to such a critical condition. I can only say you've got balls. Do you know who Qiu Zhizha's brother is? The man questioned plainly. Yi Mo just smiled as Shirxiu said, There are too many dogs here. Let's go. Then Yi Mo looked at the man and uttered, Whether he's a cow or a horse, does it concern me? I'll warn you now, if you don't move away, I will beat you all the same. Aren't you very cocky? I'll take you away today and see how cocky you can still be afterwards. Then the man was going to attack. Hu Peng, stop. A voice sounded suddenly. A half-bald, middle-aged man rushed over and stopped the guy. He walked very politely in front of Yi Mo and greeted, Young Master Mo, I didn't expect to see you here. Yi Mo studied the man and asked strangely, Who are you? I don't seem to know you. The man didn't feel awkward at all and continued with a smile. I'm Wu Zhe. I saw young Master Mo once in Beijing at Ji Beichen's charity auction. Wu Zhe was very shocked when he saw Yi Mo. Who was Yi Mo? No one here knew better than him. He was supported by the Li family, and that night he had come to the auction with Li Chuyang. He didn't have a chance to speak to Yi Mo, but that time Yi Mo taught the direct lineage Song family member Song a lesson, slapping him in the face, and the Song family hadn't dared say anything. Then, when the Song family wanted revenge on Yi Mo, they were pulled out by their roots by Yi Mo. He was very clear on that. Yi Mo may appear innocent, but it would be a very easy thing for him to kick the newly risen Qiu family away from Beijing. He stopped Hu Peng, saving him while also making a good connection with Yi Mo. Yi Mo remembered now. He had gone with Zhang Ju to that night auction, but hadn't stayed until the actual auction because he went to save his sister Yiling Wu Zhe. What do you mean? Hu Peng saw that Wu Zhe, who came from the same place as him, didn't stand on his side, yet instead helped this random young man. Still, he didn't act out immediately. Hu Peng knew that since Wu Zhe was helping this young man, it meant that he was no ordinary person. Even though he was of the Qiu family, he wouldn't do things before he knew what was going on. Nothing. It's just that young Master Mo is someone I respect, so if you want to do something to him, then don't blame me, Wu Zhe warned. He understood Yi Mo's character. He hated fake people. He could have also put things in a more euphemistic way, but that wouldn't leave as deep of an impression as the blunt way. He had already hinted to Hu Peng once. If Hu Peng didn't pick it up, then he couldn't be blamed. Wu Zhe, what are you saying? I want to see what you're going to do. Hu Peng, who had calmed down a little, was triggered again by Wu Zhe's blunt words. This wasn't his face, but the Qiu family's face that was wiped on the floor. But he still didn't try to do anything to Yi Mo. Witnessing Wu Zhe's attitude to Yi Mo, he wouldn't do anything until he figured out who Yi Mo was. Wu Zhe sneered and wanted to keep speaking when two other guys came and pulled them apart. Hence, Wu Zhe glanced at Hu Peng once and then ignored him. He turned to Yi Mo and invited carefully, Young Master Mo, I was sent down to Shitong suburb for an investigation and was having a gathering with a few friends. If you don't mind, you can come to our room? Yi Mo just wanted to reject when Shirxiu suddenly said, Shitong suburb. What's up? Yi Mo looked at Shirxiu and asked, What's up? Yi Mo looked at Shirxiu and asked, Shirshio seemed to have remembered what happened to his family and explained sadly, Cha Siai town is under the jurisdiction of the Shitong suburb. My dad was locked up in Shitong town. Yi Mo suddenly said to Wu Zhe, in that case, let's go take a sit in your room. There are some things I'd like to ask about. Hearing Yi Mo mention some asking, Wu Zhe quickly and respectfully brought them to their room on the second floor. Hu Peng's face changed many times seeing Wu Zhe and Yi Mo leave, yet he didn't dare stop them. He was in the same room as Wu Zhe, but he wasn't going back with him now. He desperately wanted to investigate who Yi Mo was. Seeing Secretary Hu not stop Yi Mo, the two policemen didn't have the guts to say anything and left. They knew water ran very deep in Beijing, and one mistake could mean the end for them. Young Master Qi couldn't even help himself get up, let alone dare inquire about Yi Mo. This large discord was brought to an end just like that. The boss of the bar didn't dare say anything either. No matter which side he'd stand on, he would just be a pawn. Wu Zhe's room was definitely not small. It was very grandiose, actually. The waiters were told by Wu Zhe to leave. Young Master Mo, please take the upper seat, Wu Zhe said carefully. Seeing Yi Mo sit down, he then looked at Shirshio and asked, may I ask who this is? Yi Mo introduced, he's called Shirshio, an old schoolmate. We're friends. Shirshio, come, sit next to me. Okay, everyone, have a seat. Yi Mo didn't care about seats, but he was helping Shirshio build up support. You needed to show your attitude for someone like Wu Zhe to respect you. Young Master Mo, let me make introductions. These two are my colleagues in Beijing at the moment. One is Cheng Changhui, the other is my future colleague in Shitang town, Zhou Ping. He didn't introduce Yi Mo, though. The two quickly greeted Yi Mo and called him Young Master Mo. They had been in politics for a long time. How could they not know that someone whom old fox Wu Zhe respected wasn't simple? They drank a cup, and Yi Mo went straight to the point. Smiling, he asked Wu Zhe, how come you're going to be Shitong town's mayor? Wu Zhe was just a low-ranked government official. The reason he could get connected with Li Qiuyang was due to his good perception and analytical skills. Yi Mo had clearly not wanted to come to this room today, but Shirshio had said that his family was from Shitong, and then Yi Mo came. It was obvious that Yi Mo came for his friend's sake. Now that Yi Mo asked, he quickly replied, under young Master Yang's care, I've always been managing the environmental sector, and now I've been promoted to suburb mayor. Zhou Ping was the vice mayor until now, and he's my old friend, so he came to celebrate with me today. He knew that what Yi Mo was asking about was related to Shitong town, so Wu Zhe just said everything he knew. Zhou Ping saw that Wu Zhe was talking to Yi Mo like a subordinate, stating his job and responsibilities clearly, and felt more fearful of Yi Mo. A mayor was like the local lord to the suburb, but in Beijing a mayor meant nothing. Seeing Yi Mo not comment, Wu Zhe continued, I was going together with Hu Peng. He used to be Mayor Chiu's secretary, and now he's also becoming a vice mayor at the Shitong suburb to manage the commercial part. Yi Mo heard this and hummed. Then he said, in that case, Hu Peng doesn't need to go. He wouldn't give a shit about Mayor Chiu. Who was that to him? By the way, Yi Mo looked at Shirshio and said, Shirshio, how about you go be the vice mayor at Shitong? Yi Mo felt like this would be a good idea. As soon as Yi Mo said this, Shirshio and Zhou Ping and company were all shocked. What sort of joke was this? A vice mayor wasn't a small thing. Even the position of vice mayor of a small suburb was obtained only after many calculations and schemes. This wasn't the main thing. It depended mainly on whether you met the requirements. In Chinese politics, other than capability, experience and age were a main thing too. Even Wu Zhe thought what Yi Mo was saying to be gibberish, but he didn't dare voice this opinion. Yi Mo was indeed powerful, but that was as far as Yi Mo himself goes. If he could arrange anyone to be a vice mayor, then the government system would turn to chaos. Yi Mo had never been in politics and thought that it didn't mean much to be a vice mayor of a small suburb. This, Wu Zhe interjected carefully. Usually this isn't allowed. He wasn't clear about Shishio's identity, so he couldn't say for sure and just told him the situation. Yi Mo waved his hand. Shishio has already been at deputy level. If he goes to Shitong now and makes some achievements, he should be fine becoming vice mayor, right? Wu Zhe heard this and thought for a moment before saying, actually, if Brother Shi has already been on the deputy level, then he can be level after making some achievements. After some time, he can be promoted to that level. Wu Zhe really wanted to form a good relationship with Yi Mo. So, although there was some pressure in saying this, he still tried his very best to help Yi Mo. Yi Mo looked at Wu Zhe with approval and commanded, make that Hu Peng leave and give his vice mayor of commerce position to Shishio. Shishio can then invite a few big businesses to Shitong town, and although Wu Zhe wanted to get on Yi Mo's good side, hearing this, he couldn't help but think of Yi Mo contemptuously. This young man might originate from a great place. Words really didn't get through to his brain. Did they? Was getting a few big businesses that easy? Yi Mo didn't mind at all and continued, these businesses need to be famous too. Right? I'll let Luo Yu Pharmaceuticals move into Shitong town and dash what? Yi Mo's words shocked the people around him quite heavily. Luo Yu moved to Shitong? No matter where Luo Yu moved to, it would be huge political achievement. Young Master Mo, do you really mean it? Wu Zhe couldn't control his excitement and stood up. If Shishio really brought Luo Yu into Shitong suburb, then he would even dare let Shishio become vice mayor. What a joke! Who didn't know about Luo Yu Pharmaceuticals? If there was a special Luo Yu outlet in Shitong, then it could immediately kickstart tourism and other businesses in the town. Yi Mo looked at them uncomprehensively and patted Wu Zhe's shoulder. Confirm him. Of course I meant it. Wu Zhe said excitedly. If young Master Mo can really bring Luo Yu into Shitong suburb, then even if I don't get the mayor position, I will still support Brother Shi. I can bring Brother Shi to the level position of Chief of Commerce, then let him substitute for Vice Mayor and have him climb up later on. Yi Mo waved his hand. Thank you for your goodwill. Shishio will indeed need your help, but you don't need to take responsibility for Shishio becoming Vice Mayor. Afterwards, Yi Mo took out his phone. He was thinking about who to call, but even after a long time, he couldn't think of someone to help. He couldn't help but sigh. He knew too few government officials. Give me Li Qiuyang's phone number. I'll call him. After considering for a while, Yi Mo felt that he should call Li Qiuyang. He had the ability to instate Wu Zhe as a mayor, which meant that he had some power. After that, he was going to contact Han Zixin. Although he knew that Elder Han didn't have any contact with these low-level officials, Elder Han did know the higher-ups. Okay. Wu Zhe enthusiastically gave Li Qiuyang's phone number. He knew how much his master respected Yi Mo. Shishio was shocked on the side. He still didn't understand how Yi Mo could have such power and authority. The position of mayor was just a matter of a phone call. This was already past the boundaries of his imagination. Li Qiuyang wasn't a core member of the Li family, but because he was experienced and had made some achievements, he was gradually reaching the inner circle of the Li family. Li Qiuyang wasn't a core member of the Li family, but because he was experienced and had made some achievements, he was gradually reaching the inner circle of the Li family. At this moment, Li Qiuyang was sharing a table with some people for dinner. Those who could eat with Li Qiuyang had quite a decent status. However, the core of today's dinner wasn't Li Qiuyang, but someone called Li Chunsheng. Although Li Chunsheng also had the Li surname, he had nothing to do with the Beijing Li family. Li Qiuyang was representing the Li family to get on good terms with Li Chunsheng. Li Chunsheng had just been moved to become vice mayor of Heifeng City, which was a big city, and even the Li family couldn't ignore that. His new position was one reason Yet the main reason the Li family was trying to connect with Li Chunxing was due to his capabilities. Li Chunxing hadn't relied on any power faction and had reached his current position all by himself. Everyone knew how hard that was. Putting Wu Zhe under Li Chunxing had been a signal of support. The reason why Li Qiuyang had invited Li Chunxing and a few other Beijing officials was mainly to get closer to Li Chunxing, hoping that he would join the Li family side. But at this moment, someone actually called him. This got Li Qiuyang very annoyed. What was even more annoying was that this was an anonymous caller. Li Qiuyang knew he never gave his number to strangers, yet a stranger was calling him. This must have meant that someone had given his number away. He immediately became furious. Who was brave enough to give his number away without asking him? Li Qiuyang wanted to hang up in his fury, but when he read the number, he suddenly felt that there was something strange about it. It seemed to have one less digit than other numbers. Things didn't seem that simple. So Li Qiuyang picked up. "May I ask who you are?" The phone number might have had one digit less. Li Qiuyang had seen many things, and he wouldn't think that this person was someone significant just from that. He was also an important figure in the Li family now. "Young Master Li, we've met once before, so I'd like to ask for your help today. Do you have time to join me for a chat at this place I'm at?" Yimo's plain voice sounded. Li Qiuyang's fury was surging uncontrollably. Who was this guy? Who did he think was? Just because he had met him once, he wanted him to help him. This wasn't even the main point. The main point was that he wanted him to go over when he was the one who needed help. How arrogant was this guy? No matter who he was, even if he was the young master of one of the 5 great families, he couldn't be like that. And from the tone of his voice, he didn't seem to be very old. Just when Li Qiuyang wanted to spout the words, "Who do you think you are?" Yimo's voice sounded again. "It's Mo. I'm at Wu Tong Bar." "What dash?" Li Qiuyang gulped back the words he was about to say as waves billowed in his heart. "It was Mo." Then he asked hesitantly, "You are young Master Mo? Beijing's Mo?" "Yes, that's me dash." Yimo's phone suddenly hung up. Li Qiuyang stared at his phone for a long time and wasn't angry at all that Mo hung up on him. There was only disbelief in his eyes, and even some joy. It was actually Mo who had called him. He felt a certain huge feeling of honor, yet at the same time also pressure. Mo looked at his phone and said helplessly, "It's out of battery again. I have to charge this thing every few months. So troublesome." Wu Zhe and others looked at each other. Charging the battery once every few months, and that was troublesome? They needed to charge their phone every day. Half a beat later, Li Qiuyang came to terms with reality. He knew this was his chance, so he stood up excitedly. He apologized to Li Chunxing. "Mayor Li, I'm really sorry. A friend is waiting for me at Wu Tong Bar, and I need to go over immediately." Everyone had seen Li Qiuyang's annoyed look when his phone sounded, but his rapid change of expression from anger to joy, surprise, and even a little anxiety was also caught. Everyone at the scene were astute people and guessed that it was a significant person who had called Li Qiuyang. Moreover, if Li Qiuyang could leave the people at the scene all for a hung-up call, this meant something. "Qiuyang, who can it be if even you have to go immediately?" a pot-bellied middle-aged man asked doubtfully. Li Qiuyang didn't seem to hear his words at all and just stood up. "Young Master Li, may I go and see as well?" Li Chunxing suddenly asked with a smile. Li Qiuyang hesitated and said, "Since Mayor Li wishes to go, then come with me." Seeing Li Chunxing being approved to join, 2 others wanted to come as well, but Li Qiuyang said troubledly, "That person only told me to go. I'm afraid if I bring too many people he won't be happy." After which he left the restaurant with Li Chunxing quickly. That pot-bellied man seemed to have realized his mistake and felt awkward. The busy scene at the table cooled down, and everyone left, while no one seemed to want to say anything to the pot-bellied man. "Young Master Li, was it that Mo from the Yi family who called you?" Li Chunxing had been in Beijing for many years and had astounding political and social instincts. He could guess from Li Chuyang's expression and his words that this just might be the Yi Mo fabled amongst the higher-ups in Beijing. If it wasn't that Yi Mo, Li Chuyang wouldn't be this anxious and excited. Li Chuyang nodded seriously. Yes, Mayor Li, it's him. And what he likes is people who are real, so just talk normally when you get there. Li Chunsheng also had excitement in his eyes. I understand. Thanks for giving me this chance. If you don't mind, just call me Chunsheng. Okay, then I'll call you Brother Sheng. Just call me Chuyang from now on. Perhaps I'll need your help in the future with where I plan on going, Li Chuyang immediately said. He believed his mission of connecting with Li Chunsheng had been accomplished today. But in his heart, the biggest achievement today wasn't connecting with Li Chunsheng, but getting Yimo's invite. This invite would allow him to stand on his own in the Li family. Li Chunsheng was also very excited. He had been in Beijing for many years, and although he didn't know the precise details, he had an idea about how much power Yi Mo held. If he really did have to join political factions, he would rather join Yi Mo than go to some big families. Yet, he understood the possibility of that happening was small. Many others who similarly wanted this would never get the chance either. He definitely couldn't let this opportunity pass, no matter what, even if it were at the cost of getting close to the Li family faction. Witnessing how Yi Mo just straight up called Li Chuyang Iver to Wu Tongbar, Cheng Chonghui and Zhou Ping were dumbfounded. Who was Li Chuyang? Although they had never gotten to meet him, they were very clear on his identity. He was a core member of the Li family, having a much higher status than them. Wu Zei's face didn't change. Although he didn't know the extent of Yimo's power, he knew it would be big. Otherwise, he wouldn't have handed Li Chuyang's number to him, unless he had gotten tired of living. Yi Mo quickly plugged the phone into the charger. If Li Chuyang couldn't take care of this, he would ask Elder Han for help. Yi Mo, what are you doing now? Shi Xiu reacted and looked at Yi Mo. Yi Mo was just about to answer when his face sunk as he looked at the door. Rumbled, the door was forcibly kicked open. A youth with triangularly shaped eyes stood at the door, with 4 men dressed in black. The youth noticed Yi Mo and questioned coldly, "You're the guy who beat up Qiu Zhizha? And who are you? Who gave you the right to kick open other people's rooms?" Wu Zei stood up and yelled, pointing at the youth. He figured they had to be from the Qiu family. The youth scanned Wu Zei. "Wu, don't think that Li Chuyang would fight with me over a dog like you. You overestimate yourself. Do you not believe that I can squish you like a bug?" Wu Zei was at a loss for words. He knew this guy was right. Li Chuyang really wouldn't start a fight with the Qiu family over him. If the Qiu family let them have some benefits in other areas, the Li family might really just give him up. Yi Mo, however, commented plainly, "I really don't believe it." "It's simple then. I'll just have to beat you until you believe me," the youth said as he waved his hand. "It's simple then. I'll just have to beat you until you believe me," the youth said as he waved his hand. Those 4 men immediately charged up. There was some killing chi coming from them, so Yi Mo could tell they weren't simple. He felt the same chi on them as he had on Gui Qi. Thinking about Gui Qi, Yi Mo couldn't help but remember Qi Wanqing. He wondered how they were now. The 4 men were very ferocious and gave it their all as soon as they attacked. Perhaps it was because of their habitual life, but against these people, Yi Mo didn't feel any mercy. No matter where they came from, Yi Mo wouldn't be merciful to those who wanted to kill him. The 4 charged up to Yi Mo, but without even seeing Yi Mo's shadow, they were kicked by him. The spooky sound of bones shattering was heard, and in just one clash these 4 men all had their kneecaps broken by Yi Mo. Still, they endured the anguish. They were sweating with pain, but no one yelled out. Seeing the 4 men fall on the floor, the youth was shocked. He had thought that it would be a walk in the park for those 4 to beat Yi Mo into a disabled man. He didn't expect Yi Mo to be this strong and this cruel. At the same time, in a private mansion in Beijing, a youth in his 30s had a serious look on his face as he knocked the table. Being the youngest and most prominent member of the Chiu family, he was 31 this year and already a high-ranking official. His future was bright. Chiu Zhixue had just received word that his brother had been beaten into a disabled man in a bar and that he was still in the hospital. The doctors had judged that he had forever lost his hearing on one side. This made him extremely furious. In the whole of Beijing, even the other few families didn't dare beat up his brother like that. Chiu Zhixue was someone who grew calmer the angrier he was. When he attacked, he went for the kill. So after hearing this news, Chiu Zhixue wasn't going to bring people to capture Yi Mo or anything of the sort. First, he sent Hu Peng to investigate this young Master Mo's identity. Why had he never heard of some young Master Mo from the Li family? Even if this young Master Mo was indeed from the Li family, he'd have to pay a price for beating his brother. It wasn't due to luck that their Chiu family had become the new big family in Beijing. So what if it was the Li family? The phone rung, and Chiu Zhixue immediately picked it up. The person calling wasn't Hu Peng, but a henchman of Chiu Dongchen's. He reported that something had happened to Chiu Dongchen. Hearing that Chiu Dongchen had brought men over to Wutong Bar only to get beaten into a disabled man, all the same, Chiu Zhixue almost smashed his phone. Since when did the Chiu family get bullied like this? Chiu Zhixue was just a rich second generation, but Chiu Dongchen was an elite of the Chiu family. He was also in his 30s, but he was already colonel ranked. He had returned to Beijing this time for some other matter. Chiu Zhixue smashed his fist on the table, and the sturdy table was smashed into pieces. Chiu Zhixue couldn't wait anymore. He grabbed the phone and called, "Captain Zhu, I need you to bring your men to Wutong Bar immediately." "Yes, I'll come over right away, and I'll contact the special police in Beijing." After hanging up, Chiu Zhixue called another number. Second uncle, Zhixue and Dongchen were injured in Wutong Bar. I've mobilized Flying Leopard and the special police force. Yes, I'm going there immediately. I don't know his origin yet, but he seems to be related to the Li family. Outside the room in Wutong Bar, the young man had had his legs broken and had received a few slaps in the face too. "You've sure got balls. If I, Chiu Dongchen, don't annihilate your entire family, then I've been raised by a dog." The young man cursed still. Yi Mo's eyes went cold. He hated people who threatened him. Ning Qingxue had been hurt many times because he hadn't annihilated the Song family. Yi Mo took a step forward and kicked Chiu Dongchen in the chest, sending him right next to the stairs. To other people, this seemed like just a normal kick, but Yi Mo knew that it had shattered Chiu Dongchen's cardiac meridian. He wouldn't be able to last more than 3 months, no matter what. "Stop!" Chiu Zhixue just arrived when he saw Yi Mo kick Chiu Dongchen unconscious. He could no longer control his anger. But he stopped himself from going forward. The military truck was already arriving. He was waiting for the special police force to come up and take Yi Mo away. No matter who of the Li family Yi Mo was, he wasn't going to let him go. Chiu Zhixue wasn't dumb. He was clear on Chiu Dongchen's power. A few bulky men together wouldn't even be able to get close to him. Moreover, he had brought along 4 teammates. It would be suicide for him to go up. The truck stopped as multiple police squads carrying rifles took up position and quickly surrounded the bar. An officer walked in front of Chiu Zhixue and bowed. Chiu Zhixue didn't order to capture Yi Mo yet. He still wanted to wait for Flying Leopard. At this moment, a car halted in front of Wutong Bar with 2 men hurriedly getting out of it. Here I was wondering who could be this cocky, hurting our Chiu family people. "So it's young Master Chiu Yang. Your Li family sure is powerful. Too powerful." Chiu Zhixue saw Li Chuyang and Li Chunqing appear and immediately sneered. Li Chuyang felt strange. He came to see Yi Mo. He didn't expect so many special force agents to be surrounding the place. Qiu Zhixue was here as well, and judging from his tone, someone seemed to have seriously beaten up their people. I was the one who did it. This has nothing to do with young Master Li. If you're looking for trouble, come up and join me. I'm right here, Yimo's plain voice sounded. Qiu Zhixue was dazed. Seeing Li Qiuyang arrive, he was sure the Li family had to be responsible, but why did this young man then suddenly say it had nothing to do with Li Qiuyang? Li Qiuyang was stunned for a second and quickly reacted. He looked contemptuously at Qiu Zhixue. If the Li family people had been responsible, then it would be okay for him to be like that. But acting up the same way in front of Yi Mo, sadly, he was wrong. In the past, Yi Mo had killed Song Qiming's son, and the Song family still hadn't done anything to him. Some Qiu family that was far lesser than the Song family didn't even have to be mentioned. He really felt pity for this Qiu Zhixue. Qiu Zhixue was no simple person. He would rather torture Yi Mo to death slowly in a dark room than show of how powerful he was in front of everyone. He saw the contemptuous look in Li Qiuyang's eyes and also took Yi Mo's words to heart. There seemed to be something he didn't know, and this made him annoyed. Li Qiuyang walked in front of Yi Mo and bowed before saying, "It's my honor for Brother Yi to remember to come to me for help." Yi Mo smiled and said, "Let's go inside and talk." Then Yi Mo kicked the four men at the door away one more time. Qiu Zhixue was dazed. He didn't expect Li Qiuyang to be this polite to Yi Mo. He was sure that this person wasn't from the Li family. If Yi Mo were from the Li family, even if he were the most core member, Li Qiuyang still wouldn't be this polite to him. At this moment, a Range Rover pulled over, and 7 Flying Leopard members got off and ran in front of Qiu Zhixue. "Brother Qiu, I've brought my men of dash." Before the fierce man finished his words, he noticed Yi Mo, who stood there talking to Li Qiuyang, and immediately showed surprise. He was sure that that young man was their instructor, Yi Mo. The guy ran over and bowed to Yi Mo. "Flying Leopard Commanding Officer Zhu Hongxing is honored to see you." "Instructor," Yi Mo frowned and asked plainly, "Your special forces are that worthless, coming out due to some random trash call?" Reporting in, "This is my fault, instructor. Because I'm acquainted with Qiu Zhixue, I brought out some members out of my own volition. I'm willing to receive punishment." Zhu Hongxing's face went red. One reason he had come was because he knew Qiu Zhixue. Another was because Qiu Zhixue was next in line to become the family leader of the Qiu family. He hadn't dared reject him. Yi Mo sneered, "Do I have the time to punish you? Go back to where you came from. Otherwise, don't blame me for what happens." "Yes, sir." Zhu Hongxing didn't even look at Qiu Zhixue and bowed before taking his squad members on the Range Rover and leaving. Qiu Zhixue looked dumbly at the Flying Leopard squad that came and left. Witnessing Zhu Hongxing's respect for Yi Mo, even an idiot would know that Yi Mo was no ordinary person. At this moment, he was actually getting scared. Qiu Zhixue looked dumbly at the Flying Leopard squad that came and left. Witnessing Zhu Hongxing's respect for Yi Mo, even an idiot would know that Yi Mo was no ordinary person. At this moment, he was actually getting scared. Li Qiuyang gave Qiu Zhixue a cold look. There weren't a lot of people in Beijing that he considered significant, but Qiu Zhixue was definitely one of them. He was cool-headed and fulfilled his tasks with great skill, but to Li Qiuyang's surprise, he had made such a critical mistake today, offending Yi Mo. This made him very happy. Qiu Zhixue could see the ridicule at his adversity in Li Qiuyang's eyes. Just when Qiu Zhixue was at a loss of what to do, a ringtone broke the tense atmosphere at the scene. "Second uncle?" "Yes, I'm already at Wutong Bar." Qiu Zhixue's voice stopped there. The reason being his second uncle's desperate voice. "Zhixue, You mustn't do anything. Quickly tell the people you've mobilized to get back ASAP. I'll be there in a moment. That person isn't someone our Chiu family can afford to offend. Do not touch him. He's Yi Mo Chiu Jishua's mind buzzed. There weren't many people the Chiu family couldn't offend in the Beijing area, but the number one person not to touch was Yi Mo. He was dumbfounded. Who would have thought this person would be that Yi Mo Chiu Jishua was a prideful man? Ever since coming to Beijing, he had been hearing about some Yi Mo, but had never minded it much. After all, no matter how strong Yi Mo was, he was just a single person. Although, according to the rumors, Yi Mo had taken out the Song family all by himself, Chiu Jishua had investigated the Song family situation. It was because the Song family itself was so scared that they disbanded most of the members, causing the family's power to decline, that they got eaten up by their political enemies. Although Yi Mo had some impact, he wasn't the main cause. Afterwards, Yi Mo faded from the Beijing upper society and disappeared for a long time. This also made Chiu Jishua not take Yi Mo very seriously, which led to him not connecting this young Master Mo to the Yi Mo. Today, he had witnessed firsthand Yi Mo's power. Even the Flying Leopard captain was extremely respectful towards him. This made Chiu Jishua reevaluate Yi Mo. Even if his second uncle hadn't called, he would have wanted to retreat. A black Mercedes raced over, stopping next to Chiu Jishua. Two people got out of the car. Grandpa, noticing the people who had gotten out, Chiu Jishua was shocked. Other than his second uncle, there was also his grandpa, actually coming in person. His expression didn't look too good. Chiu Jishua immediately knew things were very serious. The old man walked over to Chiu Jishua with a green face and slapped him. I thought you would be able to mean something for the Chiu family, but it turns out you're still hopeless. After slapping Chiu Jishua, he didn't even look at Chiu Dongchen, who was on the floor, and just walked up to Yi Mo's room. Are you still not going to tell the police to retreat? Do you want the entire Chiu family to be wiped out? The man following the old man yelled. I understand. Second uncle, Chiu Jishua knew that things weren't as simple as he had imagined. He had been too inexperienced, not being able to control his emotions. Seeing Chiu Jishua disperse the police, the second uncle grabbed Chiu Jishua's hand and pulled him in, following the old man into Yi Mo's room. Li Chuyang stood up and greeted politely, Old Man Chiu. Yi Mo quickly figured out that this had to be the leader of the Chiu family. He also understood why the old man had come over, but as for those old men who thought themselves superior to everyone else, Yi Mo wasn't a fan of them. He didn't think that this old man would have been unaware of Chiu Jishua's actions in Beijing. If he hadn't met him today, would Xiu have been abused to death? This world seemed more and more similar to the world he was in before. He waved his hand and said, My principle is not to offend those who don't offend me. If someone else offends me in the future, the result will be the same as today. Young Master Mo, don't worry. There won't be a second Chiu Jishua. From the Chiu family, Jishua, hurry up and apologize to young Master Mo. Chiu Zhongxin looked at Chiu Jishua and yelled, Yi Mo, scan Chiu Jishua. He really didn't like this guy, but he couldn't just do something to him for no reason either. If it wasn't because he was a cultivator, he wouldn't let him live no matter what. This guy was scary. Receiving Chiu Jishua's apology, Yi Mo said plainly, No need for apologies. Your Chiu family just wasn't careful when making friends. Someone tricked an idiot like Chiu Jishua to attack my friend. As for that Hu Peng, there's no need for him to go to Shitong town anymore. Someone else will take care of it. Thank you. Although Yi Mo didn't say it very conspicuously, Chiu Zhongxin could comprehend that the guy their family had arranged to go to Shitong town would be replaced by Yi Mo. He didn't comment anything anymore, and just brought the other two with him, leaving Wu Tong Bar. From the start to the end of this whole situation, Cheng Chonghui and Zhou Ping couldn't believe their eyes. Although they didn't understand why Yi Mo could act like a god, They knew that Emo was someone they had to look up to in awe, and stood on the side, not daring to talk. Everyone who had appeared today was someone they could usually only gaze at from a distance, yet these people all had to behave in front Emo. This made Zhou Ping make up his mind to get on Shishio's good side, but Shishio was also completely dumbfounded at this moment. After all the Chiu family people had left, and the scene was cleaned up, Li Qiuyang stood up and asked, "Brother Yi, what is it you need from this little brother?" Wu Zei carefully sat beside them, and from Li Qiuyang's approving glance at him, he knew he had hit the jackpot today. He had made the right decision. As long as he didn't make any mistakes in the future, his path would be a bright one. Emo smiled. "I indeed need young Master Li to help me with something." Mayor Wu explained my idea to young Master Li. Wu Zei quickly told Li Qiuyang what Emo wanted. Even if Emo wouldn't let Luo Yu enter Shitong, he would still do his job nicely for Emo. Not to mention, with Emo's reminder, the Chiu family absolutely wouldn't send Hu Peng to Shitong town. This way, the arrangements for Shishio would be much easier to make. Shishio looked at Emo in joy and disbelief. He didn't expect Emo's words to become true. Emo had really just made him a vice mayor with merely a few words. Although, as a deputy for now, it was only a matter of time before that deputy part would be gone. Today, he had come to feel distant from Emo instead. Emo didn't have such temperament before. He had been like him, the most unwelcome person in class. Things had gone unexpectedly well. Emo promised, "Young Master Li, I owe you one for today. I will definitely remember this." Li Qiuyang quickly raised his wine glass and said, "Just a small matter. Whenever you need me, just ask. And if I have your approval, just call me by my name." Emo nodded and turned around to Zhou Ping. "Mayor Zhou, you will be staying in Shitong the longest. My friend here was maltreated and even forced to take a loan at a very high interest. I suspect this concerns a local underground power. What is your opinion?" Hearing Emo ask him, Zhou Ping quickly stood up and replied, "Such underground powers are a main target for the government to attack. Mayor Shi is about to become my colleague. We will need his cooperation to pull this organization from its roots in order to ensure a brighter tomorrow for Shitong town." This was exactly what Emo wanted to hear. Wu Zei would be new to Shitong town, and he would be unfamiliar with a lot of things. Shishio would be even worse. Now, with Zhou Ping's help, Emo believed punishing those people who harmed Shishio would be a piece of cake now. Li Chunqing stood up at this moment and raised a cup in front of Emo. "Young Master Emo, I didn't think Shishio would be going to Shitong town this quick. I happen to be stationed in Hefeng City, so perhaps we will be working together in the future. I propose this toast to young Master Emo. Then, I will propose a toast to Mayor Shi too." Li Chunqing, as the mayor of a big city, said that he will be in contact with Shishio a lot, mainly due to Emo. He was glad to have come today. Who didn't know who Qiu Zhongxin was? Yet even someone like him had to lower his head in front of Emo. Emo's power was far greater than he'd anticipated. Emo had come to help pave the road for Shishio, so since Li Chunqing was the mayor of Hefeng City, he couldn't neglect him, and also raised his cup. No matter how dumb Shishio were, he wouldn't let a mayor propose a toast to him. He quickly raised his cup and walked in front of Li Chunqing. "There are still many things I don't understand. I hope Mayor Li will help me in the future." After leaving Wutong Bar, the person who felt like this day had been unreal the most was Shishio. He would have never thought that in a few hours' time he could go from that person with nowhere to go to a deputy vice mayor. This was something he didn't even dare dream of before, yet it had happened to him. After leaving Wutong Bar, the person who felt like this day had been unreal the most was Shishio. He would have never thought that in a few hours' time he could go from that person with nowhere to go to a deputy vice mayor. This was something he didn't even dare dream of before, yet it had happened to him. Yemo, Shirshio was so excited that he didn't even know how to express himself. He knew that with the power Yemo had shown today, it would be very easy for him to help him get revenge. However, Yemo didn't say anything about it and just arranged for him to be a vice mayor. This meant that he had to get his own revenge. Shirshio was truly grateful. Even though all his friends had left him, there was still one friend who could help him. Getting revenge for his parents personally was the best result for him anyway. What surprised him even more was that he wouldn't even have to manage it himself. Because of one sentence from Yemo, Qiu Zhongxin had already sent that Tong Jie and his family to hell. Yemo patted Shirshio's shoulder. Don't worry. When we were in Ninghai University before, you were the only one to help me. Now, it's only right that I help you take care of something. I don't understand politics, so you need to rely on yourself, but if you get mistreated in any way, just tell me. Shirshio clenched his fist. Yemo, I really didn't help you that much in the past. If you have some time, I'd like to invite you to eat in Juwei Lu again. Although I don't have the free pass anymore, I can pay for us. The shadow in Shirshio's heart slowly went away. Remembering the time when the two of them were at Ninghai University, eating with a free coupon, he brightened up even more. Of course, as for politics, Wu Zhe is experienced in them. It's good if he helps you, but if he tries to give you a hard time, don't be soft on him, Yemo advised Shirshio. He felt like this guy's political instincts weren't good sometimes. Shirshio nodded. He knew what Yemo meant. He had been in a daze at Wutong Bar. There was no way for him to think of talking and connecting with Li Chunxing, Zhou Ping, and company. That wasn't what mattered. He could take care of that later on. By the way, Yemo, how will you manage to bring Luo Yu into Shitong Town? Shirshio finally got to ask this question. Yemo smiled. Because Luo Yu is my company. If you don't wish to be in politics, you can always join my company, you know? What? Shirshio was once again shocked by Yemo's words. How could he not know about Luo Yu Corporation? It was even better than a money printing machine. After a long while, Shirshio sighed. Yemo, I didn't think you could make so big an achievement in such a short time. I really am proud of you. Yemo touched his chin speechlessly. If it wasn't for collecting herbs, he really wouldn't have created such a company. That company meant nothing to him. Yemo, I'd like to go to Beijing and have a look, Shirshio said with a sliver of struggle in his eyes. Yemo knew what Shirshio was thinking about. His Tan, she was studying in Beijing. Even when the tables turned for him, he couldn't dump the girl he liked, even though she had betrayed him. Need me to go with you? If it had been before, Yemo would have tried to persuade Shirshio to give up. What's the point of having such a woman? He hated women who committed betrayal the most. Yet now he didn't stop him. Tan was to Shirshio like Ning Qingxue was to him, although Ning Qingxue had forgotten about all that had happened between them and even detested him. Yemo couldn't forget about her. This was still different from betrayal, but he could understand how Shirshio was feeling. Why aren't you stopping me from looking for Tan? Shirshio looked at Yemo strangely. He thought Yemo would stop him from looking for such a woman for sure. Although he knew that he shouldn't go look for her, he couldn't help it. When he was going through the toughest time of his life, Tan hadn't betrayed him. He couldn't understand why, when things had gotten better, she did betray him. I think she might have had something in mind. Yemo sunk into silence. He suddenly badly wanted to go see Ning Qingxue. Perhaps he should really have a good talk with her. Luo Ying seemed to have disappeared. If Ning Qingxue left him too, he would truly feel lonely. So what if she didn't remember? At least he remembered how Ning Qingxue had gone looking for him all by herself in Shen Nongjia. Go check up on her then, Yemo murmured as though giving himself some excuse. I think you won't have to go to her school. Tan is in that sports car from before. Yemo pointed at a red sports car not far away. Shirshio exclaimed, and immediately recognized that was the one Tan Tan had gotten on. He didn't even think before stopping a taxi and following. Yi Mo was afraid something would happen to Shirshio, so he followed behind as well. The red sports car drove for a bit longer, stopping outside a bar. Yi Mo somehow felt this bar to be familiar, and he soon remembered. This was the bar he had come to with Yun Bing. Yun Bing had rushed into this bar, and then later on he had seen Ye Shuang and Zhu Yangqing. After the red car pulled over, that fat guy pulled Tan Tan into the bar. Yi Mo saw Shirshio clench his fists and walk in. He sighed and followed. Before the door even closed, the fat man's voice sounded. Song Xiaodan, how can you believe you're worth that much? You're just a worn shoe. Bang! The door was shut, and there seemed to be the scream of a girl. Shirshio couldn't resist it anymore and kicked the door open. The girl called Tan Tan already had a red palm mark on her face, and her clothes were also ripped, but the fat man didn't have it easy either. He had had an ashtray smashed to his head. The two seemed to be arguing over money. Why are you here? Piss off, leave. Song Xiaodan saw Shirshio with a green face and yelled hysterically. She didn't want Shirshio to see her like that. Shirshio didn't say anything and just smashed down on the fat man's head with the trash can next to him. The fat man tossed Song Xiaodan to the floor and charged at Shirshio. Seeing that the fat guy was about to hit Shirshio, Song Xiaodan went crazy and started smacking the fat man's head with the ashtray. Yi Mo witnessed the scene and was speechless. The security at the bar soon came, pulling them apart. Yi Mo, you're here too? Shirshio noticed. Yi Mo nodded and didn't speak because there was also police here. What happened? Just when the short policeman started saying a few words, his voice quietened down. He recognized Yi Mo. He still remembered clearly what happened a year ago. Yi Mo had told him to piss off, and if his mate hadn't told him to leave, perhaps he would be in jail now. Today, he saw the person he didn't want to see the most again. The fat man wiped the blood from his head and pointed at Song Xiaodan. This bitch is cheating me out of 480K and smashed my head with an ashtray. Tell us properly. The policeman next to the short one looked strangely at his partner. This was the first time he had seen his partner act so lame. The fat man calmed himself and relayed. She agreed to sleep with me, but before getting in bed, she asked me to give her 480K. What woman is worth that much money for one night? So this means you're hiring a prostitute, the police officer asked casually. He saw his partner look fearfully at Yi Mo, and Yi Mo stood by Shirshio's side. It was obvious he was involved in the fight, so when he started questioning, he sided with Song Xiaodan. The fat man immediately screamed, "No, we mutually agreed to this. Since it's a mutual agreement, why are her clothes ripped apart?" the officer continued asking. The fat man was at a loss for words, but still quickly said, "Asking for that much money, of course, I disagreed." "So, you were going to rape her instead?" The short policeman came back to his senses and asked seriously, "Why are you interrogating me like this? Do you believe me when I say I can pull that uniform off of you?" The fat man got angry and yelled. Shirshio walked in front of Song Xiaodan and pulled her up. He asked with red eyes, "Tan Tan, are you trying to get 480K to pay back my debt?" Song Xiaodan looked down and just kept rubbing her eyes, not saying anything. Yi Mo's instincts told him that the fatty was lying. His eyes were shaky while he was denouncing the officers, and he obviously didn't want this to get too big. Yi Mo's instincts told him that the fatty was lying. His eyes were shaky while he was denouncing the officers, and he obviously didn't want this to get too big. Yi Mo waved to the short policeman, and he hurriedly came over. "1 year ago, I said there was something wrong with this bar. Didn't I tell you to investigate? Why is it still here?" Yi Mo's tone was unhappy. The short police officer quickly explained. This bar has been sealed already, but a few months ago, it was sold to a merchant from Win State. This isn't the same bar as before. Yi Mo nodded and walked up to the fat man. He slapped him on the head and asked, "What is it you wanted to do bringing Song Shout in here?" The fat man hesitated and replied, "I wanted to have a go on her and then sell her. So it's a women trafficker." Song Xiaotan's face went pale. She had planned to get some money from the fatty to help Shishio pay off his debt, yet unexpectedly, she was almost sold. "Have you been doing this for a long time? How do you usually trick people?" Yemo asked again. "Yes, I have been doing this for 3 years. Well, many girls just have to see my sports car for them to come with me." The fat man didn't hide anything. Yemo kicked him flying away, and then said to the 2 officers, "Take him away. I believe you know what to do." The 2 policemen looked at each other. They really didn't understand how Yemo had just asked 2 questions, and the fat man admitted to his crimes. If he were to go to the police station, what case wouldn't he be able to solve? Seeing the police take the fat man away, Shishio looked at Song Xiaodan, yet remained speechless and just sighed. He now knew that Song Xiaodan must have seen how he was being overly forced to repay the debt and wanted to help him. "Tan Tan, I'm about to be the vice mayor of Shitong Town. Come back with me." Shishio couldn't find any better comforting words and just felt like he owed her a lot. "What did you say?" Song Xiaodan looked at Shishio in disbelief. Still, she knew that Shishio would never lie to her about something like this. Yemo left without disturbing them. He believed that Shishio would be able to deal with the follow-up. Although he didn't like how Song Xiaodan had done things, he could tell she was genuine in her feelings for Shishio. Yemo felt happy for him. When Yemo went to see Yiling and Yi Zifeng, he found out that Yiling had gone to Flowing Snake because she was unhappy about not getting to see him last time. Yemo rested easy after knowing that she went there. After all, she would be much safer there than in Beijing. Flowing Snake was his territory. Yemo didn't hurry back to Flowing Snake and went to U State instead. He had decided to have a good chat with Ning Qingxue. If Lan Yu was still going to stop him, he would go back to Flowing Snake and then go check out the small world. U State was a big place originally, and now with the partner of Luo Yu, Fei Yu being there, it was getting even more populous. At this moment, Ning Zhongfei, who was supposed to be happy, was not happy at all. Although his wife had returned, his daughter had disappeared now, and so did her plane. A passenger jet had vanished from sight for no reason, and the U.S. had been attacked by aliens, so it came up with the Earth Protection Plan, suggesting that 200 countries in the world should immediately build an Earth defense base. But there are also people who disagree with its theory and think the U.S. is worrying too much. Some state advisors have brought up that the missing jet case was similar to the ones that happened a few years ago. This time, there was a famous scientist aboard the plane, just like with the ones in the past. Some people even tallied all the disappearances and realized that in these last couple of years, the world had lost 100 or so famous scholars and scientists. Compared to that, Ning Zhongfei and his wife cared more about their missing daughter. "This is all my fault. If I had gone back with you to Beijing, this wouldn't have happened. Now we don't even know whether Qingxue is dead or alive. Sigh, I thought she would be fine as long as Yemo left her, but now these things are still happening." Lan Yu was very annoyed. Not only did she not get any business for the company by staying in the U.S., she had almost lost her life because of it. Although she was released for some strange reason, the whole experience still made her feel fear. Yemo. Ning Zhongfei uttered this name and fell into silence. Then he said, "The young man I met in Beijing really does look like him. But the differences are also obvious at the same time." Lan Yu was stunned. "Are you saying that Yemo helped you, and that's why Fei Yu got the spot?" Ning Zhongfei shook his head. "No, I just feel like that young man looks like Yemo, but Yemo was much shorter than him when I last saw him, and the shape of his face doesn't really look similar. That young man seemed to be much more handsome. On the other hand, I only saw him once when I made the marriage arrangement before. It's been so many years, I don't remember precisely how he looks. Lan Yu gave Ning Zhongfei a strange look. She was certain that the person her husband had seen had to be Yi Mo. He hadn't seen Yi Mo, but she had, and not too long ago at that. Yi Mo had changed so much compared to before. It was reasonable for her husband not to recognize him. What's wrong? Ning Zhongfei saw his wife's strange gaze and asked. Lan Yu sighed. Zhongfei, should we tell Yi Mo about Qingxue going missing? Didn't you not want Qingxue to remember the past? You don't want them to be together. So why would you be telling Yi Mo about Qingxue's matters? Ning Zhongfei asked doubtingly. Lan Yu fell into a long silence before saying, I think I might have been wrong in the past. Since things have already happened, we can't stop them. I don't know why Qingxue only lost the memories related to Yi Mo, but it's obvious that her feelings for him are deep. I always thought that Qingxue had been hurt due to Yi Mo, but this time it obviously has nothing to do with him. Perhaps this might just be her fate. Ning Zhongfei nodded. To be honest, I've been against you suppressing Qingxue from remembering the past all along. She has the right to get it back. But now that she's gone missing, what's the point of telling Yi Mo? It will just make him worry. Besides, you disagreed with their relationship when she was fine. And now, you want them to be together when something has happened to her? That doesn't seem good. Lan Yu shook her head. Zhongfei, you don't understand Yi Mo. Although I don't understand him either. I wonder, why did the Song family stop pestering Qingxue? I suspect this has something to do with Yi Mo. It's just that because we left Beijing, there are a lot of things we don't know. So, you want to tell Yi Mo so that he can think of a way? Think about this, though. If even the U.S. government couldn't find anything, what can Yi Mo achieve by himself? Ning Zhongfei commented. Lan Yu waved her hand, however, and said, First of all, Yi Mo is Qingxue's legal husband. It's not really okay to not tell him when she goes missing. Secondly, I suspect that the young man you saw in Beijing was Yi Mo otherwise, who would help our family for no reason. That was Yi Mo. Even if he was, what gives him the right to hand us the spot? Ning Zhongfei wondered in disbelief. Lan Yu said slowly, It's very easy to confirm whether or not that was Yi Mo. We just need to ask Li Mumei. She knows him. Or we can find a picture of Yi Mo, and then we'll know. Just when Ning Zhongfei was about to agree, Li Mumei came over. Her eyes were swollen red after finding out that Ning Qingxue had disappeared. She couldn't even sleep well. If it weren't for the fact that she didn't know where Yi Mo was, she would have told him already. Yet, who would have thought that he'd come to you state today? She didn't dare tell him that Ning Qingxue had gone missing. She made him wait and was going to tell Lan Yu that Yi Mo had come. Yi Mo saw Li Mumei leave and felt strange. She seemed to have something on her mind. Her eyes were even a bit red. Fei, you had gotten the spot. So did she still seem unhappy? What? Mumei, you said that Yi Mo is here? Quick, tell him to come in. Lan Yu suddenly stood up. The loss of her daughter had made her hopeful about Yi Mo. Ning Zhongfei also stood up. Was that person who had called him brother really Yi Mo? So it really was you? Ning Zhongfei looked at Yi Mo in shock. He didn't expect that the youth he met that day would actually be Yi Mo. So it really was you? Ning Zhongfei looked at Yi Mo in shock. He didn't expect that the youth he met that day would actually be Yi Mo. Lan Yu saw her husband's tone and expression and immediately knew that this was the young man he had met. By the looks of it, it's quite possible that Fei, you had been chosen thanks to him. I'm sorry, father, and thank you for the bracelet. At this moment, Yi Mo couldn't call Ning Zhongfei brother anymore. He was his father-in-law. So you were Yemo all along. Here, I was wondering who had helped me. Be honest, you were the one who helped our company get chosen last time, right? This young man was very excellent. Why would his wife stop him from being with Qingxue? Thinking about Qingxue, Ning Zhongfei turned sad again. This should be a great moment. Yet because their daughter had gone missing, it couldn't be good anymore. What happened? Yi Mo soon realized that Ning Zhongfei and Lan Yu's eyes as well were swollen red. Ning Zhongfei sighed but didn't say anything. Lan Yu also found it hard to speak. Li Mumei quickly explained things instead. What? Qingxue has gone missing? She disappeared with a passenger jet? What's all this? Yimo's face changed immediately. Qingxue knew something happened to me in the U.S., so she hurried over, but something happened on the way. Lan Yu rubbed her eyes. She was very happy about Qingxue's position in Yimo's heart, yet now she couldn't turn back things to how they were even if she wanted to. Yimo's heart was burning like a wildfire. He simply wanted to immediately get to the scene, but he couldn't act up in front of them, so he could only ask calmly, "Weren't you fine already? After they let you out, did you not call Qingxue?" Lan Yu was dazed, replying subconsciously, "I called, but when I did, Qingxue was already on the plane." "What do you mean that I was fine? How do you know that they let me go? Did you also help me in the States?" Lan Yu immediately realized something. If not for Yimo's help, how could she leave so fast? Emma waved his hand. "That's inconsequential here. You guys just manage your company and leave finding Qingxue up to me." "I'm sorry, Yemo. I was a bad mother back then. I apologize." Lan Yu stood up and said to Yemo had already walked out of the room. He couldn't even reply to Lan Yu. To him, it was something that had already happened. Apologies didn't matter. "Brother, how did you accomplish our company getting chosen?" Looking at Yi Mo's disappearing figure, Ning Zhongfei quickly asked. Yi Mo had already left, and even if he had heard, he wouldn't come back just to answer this question. Lan Yu rolled her eyes. Ning Zhongfei was a peculiar one for calling his son-in-law brother. But someone did answer Ning Zhongfei. Luo Fei looked in Yimo's direction and sighed, because he's the boss of Luo Yu. Luo Fei could see how much Yimo cared for Ning Qingxue. What about her little sister? Ning Qingxue was so extraordinary that she didn't know if her junior martial sister could win over her. What? He's the big boss of Luo Yu? Ning Zhongfei, Lan Yu, and Li Mumei almost all screamed at the same time. This answer was too unexpected, but it was this answer that made them all comprehend why Fei Yu, who had no competitive power to speak of, had been chosen. They had such a powerful son-in-law, yet they still shamelessly went to ask other U.S. companies to cooperate with them. Ning Zhongfei glanced at his wife. It was the first time that he was unhappy with her. If it weren't for her, there wouldn't have been so many problems. If she hadn't objected to Yi Mo helping Ning Qingxue recover her memories, they would have long since known that Yi Mo was the boss of Fei Yu without having to go to the U.S., eventually causing so much trouble. Lan Yu looked down. She felt she had really done things poorly this time. Too poorly. Not only did she not explain things when Ning Qingxue had misunderstood Yi Mo, she also made things worse by telling her to avoid him. But look at how magnanimous Yi Mo was. He still came here and didn't even talk to her in any bad way. Lan Yu felt extremely guilty. Her husband had long ago said that Qingxue had to make her own decisions. Of course, Yi Mo didn't blame Lan Yu. He didn't have the time to anyway. Not to mention, Ning Qingxue was Lan Yu's daughter after all. He was going to check the jet's trajectory and search along its route. At this moment, Yi Mo appeared in Hong Kong, Western Sands land. He had come to find Zhao Biani. For some things, he needed the help of the local snake. Zhao Biani didn't expect Yi Mo would ever come to his land, his private manor no less. Luckily, he was here today. Otherwise, if his men were to take Yi Mo lightly, that would be it for him. Last time, When Shuai Shi met Yi Mo at Sanya, Shuai Shi proved his keen eyes and was praised greatly by Jiao Biani. Qianbei, I hadn't expected I'd get to be honored by your great arrival today. No wonder the peacock kept chirping. Jiao Biani showed respect on his face as best he could. Yi Mo knew that these people were afraid of him, but he didn't care. This was how the world worked. He nodded. Gang leader Jiao, I actually need your help today. I will wait at your place while you please gather all of the friends in the mafia you know here, because there's something I need to ask. Jiao Biani's heart skipped. Nanqing and Metal River was in a state of decline, and his Western Sand had gradually become the mob overlord in Hong Kong. What he feared the most was that someone had offended Yi Mo and pissed him off. Although Jiao Biani's Western Sand was the biggest gang, it wasn't to the degree where he could order everyone around. Thus the letter he sent out was, Yi Qianbei is at Western Sands Bamboo Night Private Manor, calling for all friends in the business with something to ask. Those who don't come may imagine the consequences. If it was somewhere else, people might not know the words Yi Qianbei, but in Hong Kong, everyone knew. It was at the Bamboo Night Manor that Yi Mo annihilated Detang. Furthermore, Sui Yu hadn't listened to Yi Qianbei's words, and 3 days later, someone found his body in Thailand. In Hong Kong, you can fight Western Sand, but you can't fight Yi Qianbei. It was also rumored that Earth Fiend had been annihilated by Yi Mo, since he could destroy even a behemoth like Earth Fiend, who would still have the guts to offend Yi Qianbei. With this letter sent out, in less than 2 hours, all of the Hong Kong gang's big bosses had gathered. No one dared so much as make a loud noise in front of Yi Mo. They all bowed to Yi Mo and found a place to sit. Soon, the scene was full. There was nearly 100 people here, yet the place was dead silent. They were all waiting uneasily for Yi Mo to start talking, not knowing who this Qianbei was out to kill. Yi Mo nodded satisfactorily, seeing all these people appear in such a short time. Even Metal Mountain had come, but having a look at Metal River, he didn't seem to be doing well recently. I express my apologies for interrupting everyone today. The truth is, I need all of your help today. Yi Qianbei, if there's anything you need, just tell me. Jiao Biani, will do all that I can. To me, it's an honor to be able to help Qianbei. Jiao Biani stood up and said, Yes, Yi Qianbei, although my gang is small, I wouldn't dare lag behind in helping Qianbei. Another ferocious youth stood up, saluting with his fist. With these few people talking, the rest also started vowing similar things. Yi Mo knew that the reason everyone was acting like this wasn't because they respected him, but because they feared him. If he wanted them to give it their all while helping him, he would have to promise them something they wanted. Yi Mo waved his hand, and after the noise quietened down, he said slowly, a few days ago, a plane from Hong Kong to San Francisco went missing. I believe everyone knows. So, it was this. After Yi Mo had introduced the case, everyone breathed easy and went on to answer. Too many people were investigating this thing. Yi Mo continued, My wife Ning Qingxue was on this plane, so I need you guys to investigate for me who got on it. Best if you manage to find out their motives as well. Yi Mo knew that there were a lot of things which the government couldn't find out that these mobsters could. Hearing Yi Mo's words, they started chattering. No wonder Yi Qianbei called all of them out. His wife had been on the plane. After they quieted down, Yi Mo spoke further. Of course, I am not asking for your help for free. I will also be giving some rewards. Hearing about a possible reward, everyone at the scene fell into silence. Who was Yi Mo? His reward wouldn't be anything to scoff at. Would it be money or something else? Hearing about a possible reward, everyone at the scene fell into silence. Who was Yi Mo? His reward wouldn't be anything to scoff at. Would it be money or something else? Yi Mo scanned everyone at the scene and said plainly, although everyone here has learnt some martial arts already, I believe all of you also understand that there's no ending to martial arts. Yellow level is only the beginning, yet I see that, out of everyone here, there are still only 3 people at that level. Most of you must know that one can reach yellow level only by cultivating ancient martial arts. These ancient martial arts, however, are not passed on easily. As Yi Mo spoke until there, the scene started rustling. Yi Mo was becoming more and more mysterious in everyone's heart. He could even see through everyone's level of power. This was too scary. They wondered who those people that had reached yellow level were. But since Yi Mo didn't tell, no one dared ask either. Although those ancient martial arts were nothing but a legend, most people at the scene knew that those reaching yellow level could still be considered true martial artists. But it wasn't an easy thing to reach yellow level. Those who did pretty much all belonged to big sections. Yi Mo scanned everyone and took out a pill, placing it on the table. This pill is called a chi-increasing pill. Regardless of whether or not you have learned ancient martial arts, one pill is enough for you to reach yellow level. If you are already at the yellow level, it can allow you to ascend at least one stage and even help you reach black level dash. Rumble, the scene erupted. A pill that could let you reach yellow level instantaneously. This was too enticing, too absurd. As for some black level, that was ignored. People rarely knew that it existed and had no concept of it. But Metal Mountain did know, so he was even more shocked. Dao Xian had been black level, and even Nanqing hadn't dared mess with him. He understood how terrifying the notion of a black level warrior was. If you reached yellow level, then even without a gang, you could roam anywhere you liked. If Yi Mo wasn't the person the pill was in front of, people would have already started robbing. Nonetheless, some people couldn't control the desire in their heart any longer. Some big brother of a small gang charged out of his seat, grabbing at the bottle. He thought that no matter how strong Yi Mo was, he would surely manage to snatch it. He did it unexpectedly. Afterwards, he would charge out and run away even if it meant leaving Hong Kong immediately. Someone had the guts to rob Yi Qianbei's belongings? Those who knew how strong Yi Mo was were dazed. Was there such a person that didn't want to live? Yi Mo sneered. He didn't expect there to really be someone who wished to die. He waved his hand, and the guy was smacked to the corner. Before he could react, a fireball flew out on top of it. The man was covered by the fireball in an instant, yet didn't die immediately. Everyone looked at the scene in horror. If they weren't seeing this with their own eyes, they'd think this was a movie. The man kept howling in the fireball, but everyone could only see his face without being able to hear his cries. The scene was so quiet that even the drop of a needle could be heard. After a while, the fireball disappeared, and only a few flicks of ashes fell from it, with nothing else remaining. Yi Mo scanned everyone else and said coldly, "This was the first time, so I'll let it go like this. If there's a second time, I won't be so kind." He was exerting his dominance. These people were scattered and unorganized. Although a lot of people had shown up, those who really understood his power and obeyed him were not many. Everyone started sweating. At this moment, they realized this Yi Qianbei wasn't that easy to talk to at all. He had just turned a person into dust, and that was called his kind punishment. What would the hard punishment be like? Moreover, look at how absurdly strong he was. Can you really achieve this if you cultivate ancient martial arts to a very high extent? Moving on, Yi Mo said plainly, "To anyone who can provide me with the answer to my questions, and I'm happy with the answer, I will give a chi-increasing pill. If 10 people show me results I will give 10. No matter what level you're at, I can make you increase it." The scene burst into an uproar again. Everyone had already forgotten the man who had been burned by Yi Mo. They all just hoped for luck to be on their side. Some people were already raring to go back and send their gangs out investigating. "Qianbei, what if both people have the same result? How is the reward given then?" Someone asked. Yi Mo looked at him and spoke slowly. "Whoever does it more carefully and whoever proves more useful to me, That person will be given a reward. All right then, today's meeting ends here. The time for the investigation will be 1 day. I'll be waiting here tomorrow at this time, and we'll judge whose info is useful and whose isn't. If someone dares play any tricks, I don't mind letting you follow Earth Fiend to disappear from this world. Yimo's voice grew cold at the end. He needed to make these people fear him. There was no use in trying to reason with them. Power was the strongest reasoning he could use, and since he couldn't afford too much time, he was only able to give them 1 day. Yimo's words, once again, made them shiver. Right? Earth Fiend had been annihilated by Yi Qinbei. Everyone knew how cocky and powerful Earth Fiend had been. They had the right to offend anyone they wanted. Yet precisely Earth Fiend, this kind of organization, was pulled up by its roots by Yi Qinbei. Those who had been thinking about playing some little tricks immediately gave up the thought. After leaving, Yi Mo went to the airport in order to check up on some things for himself. Yi Mo was visiting the half-mountain mansion again to see Mo Kong. Mo Kong was a good person, and when he first started up his company, Mo Kong had given him a lot of support, even throwing in a couple $100 million. Yi Mo was very grateful, so he used the spare time he had to come visit Mo Kong. The first time Yi Mo had come to treat him, there had been heavy security. But now, Yi Mo felt like it was very empty. He walked through the mansion, and not a single person was there to stop him. Thus, Yi Mo scanned further in using his spirit sense. 20 or so people looking like security guards were kneeling on the lawn with their heads down. Had Mo Kong encountered some problem? Those people had been protecting his mansion. Why was he doing this? Yi Mo went in and realized that they had had their meridians sealed, and it had been a few hours already. Mo Kong and Mo Ping were sitting obediently in the living room. The maids and servants were standing shakily in the backyard. No one dared to move. A man and woman were sitting in front of Mo Kong and Mo Ping. Yi Mo knew who that woman was. Her name was Xia Ziwei, and she had been here last time when he came to treat Mo Kong. Xia Ziwei was the sister of the girl Mo Kong liked, Xia Rou. He had told Mo Kong not to show that he was healthy in front of Xia Ziwei, so why was she here today? Yi Mo didn't know the other man, but could tell that the guy was at yellow-level tertiary stage. He had good looks and was very tall, yet he was obviously tired out, a lustful person it would seem. Did these two do it? Yi Mo walked in, suddenly startling the people inside. They all looked up at Yi Mo. Dr. Yi, why are you here? Mo Kong and Mo Ping called out at the same time. It's you? Xia Ziwei also stood up and looked at Yi Mo in vigilance and anger. Yi Mo had shattered her bone with a kick last time, and she still remembered it clearly. Yi Mo scanned her coldly and walked to Mo Kong, asking, Brother Mo, what is this? Mo Kong looked fearfully at Xia Ziwei and the man standing next to her, uttering worriedly, Dr. Yi, this is a private matter. Go back for now, and after I'm done with this, I'll come visit you. Since you're here already, why don't you stay? Ziwei, this is the trash doctor that kicked you last time, the tall man said, scanning Yi Mo. Since you're here already, why don't you stay? Ziwei, this is the trash doctor that kicked you last time, the tall man said, scanning Yi Mo. Humph, it's him. He ran quite fast last time, so I didn't notice him. Zhang Ke, this is my private matter. You don't need to intervene, Ziwei said coldly. Yi Mo looked at the two. Weren't these two together? Why was Xia Ziwei so disrespectful to the man? As soon as she finished speaking, she straightaway jumped from her seat and kicked towards Yi Mo. This time, she didn't hold back. Last time, because she'd underestimated Yi Mo, he had broken her leg. So this time, she figured she should be able to hurt him. Some mortal doctor had the guts to challenge her? No matter how strong he was, it would be child's play for her to kill him. Seeing this kick, Zhang Kei's face was colored in contempt. No matter how strong Yemo was, if this kick landed, he would be dead meat for sure. Maybe if he was lucky, he would only be crippled. This woman sure was cruel, going for the kill so easily. Yemo didn't hold back, kicking just like her. A hideous scream was heard, and Xia Ziwei was kicked far away, landing on the grass outside. She slumped to the ground, and it was unknown whether she was dead or alive. Zhang Ju suddenly stood up. He understood Xia Ziwei's power quite well. It was worse than his, but only by a bit. He didn't expect her to be flung away just like that. He was definitely no match for this guy. Zhang Ju didn't dare to go up to Yi Mo or even to say anything anymore. But that didn't mean Yi Mo was going to let him go. He went up to him and threw out a kick as Zhang Ju's terrified expression could clearly be seen. Dr. Yi? Mo Kong looked at this scene in shock. He knew that Yi Mo had probably learned ancient martial arts but didn't expect him to be this strong. Xia Ziwei and Zhang Ju's power was strong. He understood this clearly. Brother Mo, just call me Yi Mo. What happened? Yi Mo waved his hand and said, Mo Kong sighed. Let me tell you everything then. Brother Yi, after you'd cured me, I listened to you and never went out other than going to your company. I always stayed in this mansion. Yet this morning, Xia Ziwei and Zhang Ju suddenly came here and realized that I'd been cured. Zhang Ju beat up all of my security guards and was going to take me away, but was stopped by Xia Ziwei. Then they sat inside waiting for something. Hold on, let me save your bodyguards first. No matter who they are, even if they're the #1 hidden sect, I can still tell them to fuck off if I want. Saying this, Yi Mo went to save Mo Kang's bodyguards. However, 2 people had died due to being sealed for too long. Mo Ping's face showed his anger. Uncle, how can they kill people so easily like that? Mo Kong smiled bitterly. Our lives are worth nothing more than that of insects to these people. He remembered his life at the Xia family and sighed. Then Mo Kong asked Yi Mo, Brother Yi, why would you suddenly come here? What about them now? I feel like this thing won't end too well. Yi Mo waved his hand. Don't worry about those 2. Since I don't mind beating them up, it means that I'm not scared of the power behind them. I said I will help you, so don't worry. I came to Hong Kong mainly to investigate that missing passenger jet. And so, Yi Mo told him what happened. Your wife was also on the plane? Mo Kong was shocked. He knew that the plane had gone missing for quite long already. No one was entertaining the hope that the people on it would still be alive. But since Yi Mo had saved him many times, he had the responsibility to help him investigate the matter. Ping Air, immediately go investigate this case, including the people working aboard, Mo Kong ordered. Mo Ping nodded. Soon, he left with people from the mansion. Although Yi Mo didn't come to Mo Kong for help, one extra person helping meant one extra reason to hope. Let me ask these 2 what they're doing here first. Yi Mo walked out onto the grass and dragged them inside. Yi Mo patted Xia Ziwei awake. She looked up at Yi Mo in terror. Tell me why you came here. What is it you wanted to do? Mo Kong was the first man your sister met. She has hurt him for more than 20 years, and you still come to harm him in the mortal world. Where is your conscience? Yi Mo's voice was very cold. My sister harmed him? Bullshit. There was irony in Xia Ziwei's eyes, and she wouldn't talk anymore. Yi Mo didn't dare use his usual means to interrogate because as to these strong-willed people, they may make them become idiots straight away. Seeing Xia Ziwei was unwilling to talk, Yi Mo patted Zhang Ju awake. He couldn't use harsh means on Xia Ziwei, but he could on Zhang Ju. Tell me your motives. If you don't speak within 3 seconds, I'll be killing. Yi Mo's voice went cold. Although Zhang Ju had good talent for ancient martial arts, for someone who couldn't even control his lust, his will wouldn't be very strong. Keep dreaming. I'm from the Hong martial sect. Zhang Feng is my uncle. What do you dare do to me? Our sect will demolish your entire hometown, Arg. Before Zhang Ju could finish, Yi Mo stood on his kneecap. The frightening cracking of bones sounded, and Zhang Ju howled out in pain. Xia Ziwei looked on from the side in fear. This Dr. Sure was cruel. There would be no cure for Zhang Ju's knee like that. You're heartless, Zhang Ju cried. That bone-carving pain made him want to die. Yi Mo commented bleakly, I'm cruel? Look at those 2 bodyguards that are already dead. Why don't you call yourself cruel? I haven't even killed you yet. How am I cruel? They're normal people. How can they compare to us? They're just some insects. Zhang Ju truly believed he was right. Them ancient martial artists were obviously vastly superior to those mortal world insects. Yi Mo couldn't be bothered to speak anymore, and just stood on his other kneecap. I was asking you something. Why are you changing the topic? Don't step. I'll speak. Zhang Ju really hadn't been changing the topic, but he didn't dare speak any more bullshit. This Dr. Yu is too cruel, Zhang Ju said. Not too long ago, because Luo Yu's beauty pill was cashing in way too hard, many hidden sect people started sending members to Flowing Snake, wanting to control this business. Hearing about this, Yi Mo felt shocked. That's right. His business earned so much. How could the hidden sect people just let it be? Yi Mo knew that the hidden sects also needed money. Large amounts of it, actually, just like those people who had gone to the Wu Liang Mountain auction. If they didn't have businesses in the mortal world, how could they possess that much money? Although the pills and magic artifacts also sold for a lot of money, that was a limited resource. His beauty pill was earning this much. There was no way the hidden sects wouldn't be greedy for it. Yi Mo almost sweated a bit. Luckily, he realized this fact today and could now set up defenses. Otherwise, after things would have happened already, it would be too late, just like what had happened with Qing Xue. Still, the hidden sect people dared prey on his business. They must not want to live anymore. He wasn't so easily harassed. But what has this got to do with Mo Kong? Seeing Yi Mo's eyes go cold, Zhang Ju shivered and continued. During our investigation, we found out that Luo Yu had received financial help from Mo Kong Corporation, so we came back to check on Mo Kong and realized that he hadn't died. Hence, my uncle quickly sent me over to take Mo Kong away. If that's the case, then why are you still here? Yi Mo wouldn't have expected it to be his company that would expose Mo Kong in the end. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.